What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. It is Tuesday night, 9:30. I hope you're watching it live or recorded, but you know what time it is. It's time for Rebels with a Cause, because that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. Got another fun show for you tonight. Got a big fan of the show. He's come on tonight as a guest, being a part of our panel. Hopefully, I think that Brian and Larry might be on a little bit later. Like I said, hope box is ready to go tonight because we got a lot of stuff to cover. We got to talk about the NBA playoffs coming up, the finals, OKC, Indiana. You've got the Stanley Cup starting tomorrow night, 8 o'clock in Edmonton. The Panthers and the Oilers, part 2. It was a hell of a series last year. Going to be another one this year that I think will definitely go 6 or 7. I would be shocked if any team sweeps or gets it done in 5. I would really be surprised in that regard. But we're going to talk about that. How about those Vols, man? Wow, they had everybody a little worried. You wondered if that pitching was going to hold up. But remember, the name of the game is survive in advance, because, when you have your top 2 overall seeds, both from the SEC, get knocked out, you're just grateful to still be in the conversation of what is realistically the true Sweet 16. And I'll be honest with you, the baseball has now, I feel, replaced the March Madness, though, the craziness that was going on, all the upsets of not only the super regional potential hosts, but also regional hosts as well, that were shown the door, and 2 in the, as they like to say, 2 in barbecue. But we're going to talk about that as well. Fell a little short. Congratulations to them on another outstanding season. And Karen Weekly, it looks like they're going to have a very stellar season coming back, especially with that pitcher. Kieran, I believe her name is. But don't sleep on them. And then obviously, big credit to Texas Tech for getting rid of a dynasty. As far as I'm concerned, the OU softball team was going for 5 in a row. They're done. So it's going to be an all Texas final. But again, there's an SEC team. Whether you want to see it or not, you got an SEC team in Texas representing the conference for another major collegiate championship. So should be a fabulous series between the 2 teams. I think now that Texas has gotten over that Oklahoma kind of like that wall that was in front of them, it should be their title to take. It really should. So go SEC in that regard. Also, we're going to talk some WWE, man. SmackDown was in town. It was a fabulous show. I had a good time. I'm curious to see what Shane thought about it. Don't know if Kerry went, but I'll ask him. We'll talk about it. I know that Larry, if he does join us, has a lot of things to say about the unbelievable cuts that have just happened. Another round of cuts with R-Truth being let go, and Carlito and a couple of others, and it just doesn't make sense, and I've got my opinions about it as well. I also love it that some people are trying to come to the aid of Triple H, or that contracts were offered and were turned down. BS. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that crap. You wanted to get rid of him, get rid of him. Don't try to say that, because I think that the guy loves it so much he would have taken any contract just to keep it going. I mean, when you're in his shape and his age, in his 50s, still being able to do that night in and night out, and he did it the right way. He's got a damn son that's playing college basketball for Syracuse right now, so I mean, I know he'll land on his feet somewhere, but what a hell of a career with WWE, having to adapt and through all the changes and all the stuff. I mean, but we're going to honor R-Truth tonight. And it was great seeing him on Friday night live do his rap coming out and, perform in the ring. And I didn't think that it would ever be that and so forth. So, yeah, and I do have Larry backstage as well. So I know he'll want to talk about that too. But yeah, we got an action-packed show. Again, guys, remember the comment box Remember, join that chat box live. Point out when we've inaccurately said something in air, as well as voice your opinions. We want to hear from you of what you think about these NBA finals, the wrestling, the college baseball, the Stanley Cup. We can even talk a little NBA draft coming up. Here's a story that was huge that I'd like to even talk about. And realistically, it might even be near and dear to Larry's heart, because here you have a player. It finally happened in NIL. A player leaves a program and goes to the rival school the next year, and it just is like, where do we draw the line? At this point. So we can even maybe do that discussion tonight. But remember, once you guys there, like and subscribe, baby, whether you're watching it live or recorded. And remember, if you want to be a guest panelist on the show, just send me your email address, Facebook message me. That's what Larry's done. That's what Carrie's done. I've invited some others. I know people are busy, but we will want to make sure that this is the platform of the show, and we're having a great time talking sports. So, but want to give a little bit to the sponsors real quick. Got to give it up for my gal, Miss Kim Castle over at the Chamber. She always makes sure your boy looks good here. They're at the Pike. Go pay her a visit. Get you a tasty beverage while she grooms you and takes care of you. She gives you that royal treatment there at the Chamber and makes you feel like the king you are. Haircuts, beard trims, the facials, the waxes, definitely. If you want to get a pedicure, manicure, nothing wrong with that. That's what you got to do, and enjoy a tasty beverage and good conversation with the great Miss Kim Castle. Love her over there on the Pike. That's the phone number. Book an appointment. Open Wednesday through Sunday, closed Monday and Tuesdays. Also got to give it up for our guy, Mr. Alex Thatcher, and his Knoxville Coffee Company there off of Sutherland Avenue in the heart of Marble City. That brew is good any time of the day, especially during these long days and so forth. Don't matter how hot it is outside, it'll definitely get you awake. So give them a visit. Also got to give some love over to Razor Shop Barber Shop of Knoxville. See Josh Finker, Corey. They will get you taken care of, and let them know that Rebels with a Cause and Two Pair Tate sent you. And last but not least, want to give it up for Big Fact Sports Network. Follow them at 332 Studios, doing some fabulous things there. And as always, they're connected with us and we're connected with them. And it's all about the love and support. So hit that like and subscribe for them as well. But without further ado, let me bring you the panel, baby, because we got a lot to talk about. I want opinion. I'm going to bring them on each, and I'll let them speak once I have everybody on. But first, you know him as our coach. You know him as our stats guy, and he's actually got a birthday on Saturday, so definitely wish him a happy birthday. The big 4-1 on Saturday, and hopefully the Vols can give him a victory on his birthday. That's always nice when that happens. Hell, they gave him a World Series title last year, so hard to top that. But without further ado, let's bring him on. The one, the only, Mr. Shane O'Mac. How you
What's
doing,
up,
bud?
bros? What's up? What's up? Hey, appreciate it. Thanks
Hey,
for the birthday love. Can't wait for
absolutely.
Saturday to get here. Kids are taking me tubing, so
Nice.
we're gonna be up in Townsend, floating down the river for a couple hours, and hopefully make it back in time. Go catch game one against Arkansas.
Absolutely, brother. Also, got to bring on another guy. This is going to be his third appearance on the show. I'm glad to have him because, truth be told, he helped me with the idea, make this happen. And I always love to have him on. I love his opinion of sports. He's such a smart guy. Also, hit him up if you need something with the stock market because he's got some good things going there on the side. But got to bring him on, show him the love and the respect. The one, the only, the great Larry Frank Jr. How you doing, bud?
What's up, my brothers? How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, doing great, man. How are you doing on this Tuesday night before the eves of the finals? So,
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. 3 shows this week. Did mine last night. We're doing you tonight. We got our regular sports show on Friday night, but you know what? It gives me something to do, and it's something positive that I love doing. So just
well,
glad to
we
be a
love to
part
have
of it.
you on, and I know that you have your opinions on a few of the topics, and I'd love to have your opinions on any of it, even with the stuff that maybe you're not well schooled in, like hockey and everything like that, because I think that that's always important from a fan standpoint of sports, and what you see as an outsider, not a diehard. Sometimes you can bring something that would be very helpful and beneficial to an audience that doesn't know the sport that well. You know what I
Right.
mean, type of a thing. So, well, and last but not least, I want to bring him on because he has been a fan of the show from the beginning. He is a brother of mine. Let me just tell you this. If you have seen this guy before, in the carpool lane when you were dropping your kids off at school. He was that school security officer that greeted you with the biggest smile and welcomed you and just looked like he's probably the best guy to give you a hug, honestly. Sporting events, the dude, he's been doing it for a while. He's retired. And let me tell you something. He is with us, overcame some health setbacks over these last year or so, but he is here tonight and he is a big lover of all sports. Love his opinions. Wanted him to come on. The stars aligned. So give it up for the one, the only Kerry Reeves. How you doing, baby?
How you doing, fellas? Good to be with. It's an honor to be with all of you tonight. Good to be with you.
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely. So, well, we've got a action-packed show, guys, and like I said, I want everybody to kind of a nod to around the horn. I'm not going to mute anybody. I'm not Tony Reale, even though I'm better looking than him. But anyway, but truth be told, I want everybody just to give their opinions on everything. I want to start off real quick with the wrestling because obviously SmackDown was here the other night. Larry, you had asked me to blow kisses to Bianca. I think that I blew 1,000 in your honor as well as my own. She was looking great. I took some pictures and sent them to you. I hope I didn't get you in trouble with the wife, but still at the same time, yeah, exactly. But the truth of it is somebody asked me to do something.
She
That's
might
the
be
type
worth
of
getting
friend
in trouble
I
with
am.
your
So,
wife.
Hey,
But
opening the show
anyway.
with Rocky Top was amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely it was, and it was well deserved that
Yes, it
she
was.
opened the show, and I love that this was her moment. The last time, actually, it was 2 times ago that they were here. She kind of had to share the spotlight with Kane. Kane was mayor, and it still is, finishing up his last term. But it was nice that she had that spotlight to herself. But anyway, obviously, SmackDown was here. But the big news of the weekend, and I literally had to do like a double take because, on social media, guys, you almost can't see. There's a lot of clickbait, there's a lot of stuff. And then as I saw it get reposted, I was like, this really happened? I just saw this cat. He came out with the entrance. I don't know what was shown on TV, but at the arena, they did the whole, what's up? He did his whole rap, came out there, performed, lost. But, the fact that R-Truth is no longer with the WWE, and, I'm going to let everybody speak on this, but the one thing I do want to say before I shut up is that the fact that Jonathan Coachman, who hasn't even been relevant in years, was the laughing stock. I remember they had him in a G string and DX super kicked him through a wall. Okay, guys, this
Yep.
is what a joke Coach was. He was the butt of Rock's jokes for the time there in the early 2000s. Went to ESPN, did a thing there for a while. I'm really not sure what he's doing right now, but here he is as like a little poster boy, like, well, he was offered a contract by WWE. He just turned it down. And he's the only one saying it. And if you know R-Truth, I think that he would just be grateful to be employed. Did anybody not pay attention to the 20 to 27 people that got cut after Mania? Braun
Yeah.
Strowman,
Yeah.
people that actually held the championship belt, whether they were worthy of it or not. But I'm going to go around. Shane, I'll let you start. Larry, then Kerry. And like I said, what were your thoughts on these cuts? Even talk about Carlito, the Miz as well, whose wife, they had that show on USA, and Maurice obviously is battling the breast cancer.
Yep.
These were people that have been in the WWE quite a while. So go ahead, Shane. I'm going to shut up. So go for it.
It makes no sense how he went from main eventing on Saturday night against John Cena, huge pop when he was here for SmackDown. His apparel is selling like crazy, especially with that Ron Cena shirt. And then you cut him. Like
Ridiculous.
At first I thought it was like, okay, is this just part of the story because is he acting like June 1st is April 1st? And it's like, oh, this is legit. Like, he's done. Like, TKO is screwing up everything. All they care about is a profit, and they don't care about how the fan reaction is. That's just my opinion.
Very true. Very true. Larry, you got the floor, bud. Go. I want to hear it, man.
Shane O'Mac basically hit on all cylinders, but I'll add to this. If you want to know how valuable R-Truth was and how much he's loved, go back and look at Saturday night's main event when he did the entrance, the John Cena entrance. And it's not so much the reaction that he got, but you saw the appreciation. There's a difference. He got the loud reaction from the crowd because he's a fan favorite. He is loved. But the appreciation for him to be able to come down to the ring, emulate John Cena. I mean, he had John Cena down to a T at Saturday night's main event. All from when he comes out of the back room to running to the ring. If you go back and look at the YouTube video, John Cena was in a chokehold trying not to bust out laughing when he got in the ring and started running from rope to rope.
I noticed that too.
John Cena was fighting for his life not to laugh. And when he did, like John Cena always does, he turns his back to the camera and then he turns around and throws his hands up like that. Just the reaction. Of all the R-Truth moments that he's had, I truly think that was his greatest moment. And it's sad that his greatest moment was one of his last moments. Another thing I'd like to add, then I'll pass it on. You saw not just the fans in an uproar last night on Monday Night Raw with the We Want Truth chants. You saw all of the superstars coming to his defense and his support online, on social media, on Twitter, everywhere. The locker room is wrecked. And let's keep in mind, last point. As far as I can remember, R-Truth is the only person that ever made Brock Lesnar break character and laugh for the Royal Rumble when he was playing like Paul Heyman was going to be in there. I mean, that's just how good he is.
Yep.
So I saw that it was a Triple H call. I mean, I know TKO has a lot, but I saw it was a Triple H call. That's what I was reading. They didn't want to renew the contract for whatever reason, but it's a bad move.
It was a bad move. Kerry, before you talk, I do want to say one thing that I also want to add. Not only did the character reinvent itself every time and so forth, he played a heel well, he played a face well, and to maintain your, again, Father Time is undefeated, but he looks just like how he did when he was K Quick back in the day with Road Dogg. I mean, you look at that and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is really what you guys are going to cut him? He's not done anything wrong. He is a favorite backstage. You need a guy like him to kind of get these younger guys. This is what's missing. This is what we were talking about last week. You know, this is what we were talking about last week. We were talking about the fact that why in the world is it that this product is so stale? Why can't they not move these younger guys? And, you know, this old guard is going to be gone at some point or another. Here you had a guy that is all in the business, and it's a valuable resource you're losing in more ways than one. Kerry, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I remember like Larry said, when he was K Quick with Road Dogg and Ron Killings and TNA, I followed him since those days. And I always thought the performer in him was just unbelievable. And the way he adapted to everything, being a heel, being a face, he was terrific at it. And I'm like, Larry, I think the fans giving him that appreciation in Tampa, that meant the world to him. I mean, and there was another point during the time that Cena tried not to bust out laughing when he did at the start of the match, but I think Cena really appreciated all the tribute and everything that R-Truth did for him. And just to find out that he got released just absolutely blew me away. I'm like, him, Carlito, I didn't expect that. The Miz, when I saw the other day, the Miz deactivated all his social accounts, WWE, I'm sitting there going, wow, I thought Miz was protesting to R-Truth. It turns out he's being released after being, him and R-Truth, I think, were both there over 20 years.
Yeah.
Gave
Miz is your longest tenured active person on the roster.
Miz, basically, he grew up there, WWE. Went from the real world and all that to
Tough Enough.
Tough Enough, doing what he's doing. He grew up there.
Yep.
Yep.
And to me, that's just yeah. Triple H is making the calls. I mean, TKO is looking at a profit and everything, but you need guys like R-Truth to help this locker room transition. I think he would have been great for transitioning to the old guard to these young bucks and everybody that are coming up right now. There's some young talent in there, but the way they've done this is just wrong. And Larry and Shane couldn't have said it any better. And
I'm
I
also
agree
going to
with them wholeheartedly.
I'm going to echo something you just said too, Carrie, and all you guys have hit it right on the point. I think another thing too is let's talk about this. You never had a problem out of the guy. You never heard
Nope.
about a DUI. You never heard about a suspension because of, I mean, listen, Randy Orton has really cleaned up his act, but anybody will tell you back in the day, he was a pain in the ass wrestler
Yep.
defecating in divas bags or whatever like that,
Mhm.
listen, and then he tried to say, oh well, my dad, we did that with the divas back in the day, or the women wrestle. It's like, dude, it's a different time now. You got to be a little bit more respectful. The failed drug test that Randy Orton did, whether he was using roids or not and so forth, you never heard about R-Truth. That was all natural. His
Exactly.
in-ring ability, he can move, he's athletic, I mean, and it's just like, this is not one of the guys you do, that too. And here's the other thing too. When they brought Carlito back, I almost said, I think it might be 10 years too late, but here's the thing. Carlito was funny, and he's
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
still, and you talk about somebody his age, he is still in shape. He's older,
Mhm.
but he has maintained it, and look where he comes from. His father is like not maybe well as known in the
Carlos
stateside,
Colon.
but yeah, Carlos Colon
Yes. Carlos
Sr.
Colon.
And then his brother, they insulted him how many times, Primo, with
Yeah.
when they were doing the luchador, the conquistadors, or whatever they were, the bullfighters, Ole, and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, what I'm getting at is you have a family of royalty that were very big in Puerto Rico, and Spanish wrestlers, and you've crapped on them. I remember a report that when they didn't have much going on, Carlito like was told by Vince, "Oh, act like the Rock." Like they wanted like another Rock, and I spit in the face with the apple. It was entertaining. He could move in the ring, but politics and everything, he had enough, and he left. Only you bring him back and you do this to him as well. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it just makes no sense. These guys were your comedic relief, and this is what young talent today is missing. How they are on the mic, how they you build your own brand, and it's missing, guys. And they just want robots out there. And TKO, we know that UFC is their big thing. I mean, let's take a look at this. Look at Saturday, for example, coming up. You've got the show with with the Luchador Underground now being a part of it. That's at 4. Then
Mhm.
at 7, you've got
Money in the
Money
Bank.
in the Bank, and then at 10 you've got a main the Leave and O'Malley too for that title, and then the women are fighting for their titles. So you got a pretty big show for June. But we all know that it's all about TKO. UFC is their number one, and so forth.
Hmm.
And
Right.
WWE is just there because and I just think you're going to see more cuts. And I almost wonder if Cena had any creative control, that he knew that was what was going to come up with R-Truth, and he said, you know what, let's put him on Saturday Night Main Event. He deserves it, and so forth, and let's do this. I don't know. I mean, I could see Cena definitely doing that. He probably didn't agree with it. That's why he is on his way out and has
But
got his own stuff.
think
So,
about something on the flip side. John Cena said he's going to ruin wrestling.
hmm
If R-Truth's last match was against heel John Cena, and they play that angle, if Cena comes out and does a promo, and they start chanting, "We want truth," I can see heel Cena right now. You can want him, but you won't get him anymore because I retired him. That would take his heel turn to another level. That would legitimize him saying that he ruined wrestling.
yep. Yep. And Ron would be okay with it because
He
Ron
would.
is a business guy. He's a
Yeah.
Yep.
business guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Would.
absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense right now. And to have another round of cuts after, like I said, you had 20
Yeah.
to 27 superstars be released right after Mania, and now you've had a few more. And then with The Miz, I mean, I watched the show a little bit, but it still got ratings for USA, Miz and Mrs. I mean,
You did.
where is the
Mhm.
other? Who is another couple right now in wrestling that has a show like that? They don't. I could eventually
Nobody.
see Rollins and what's her name doing that.
They don't. They
Becky
don't.
Lynch.
But I've seen a couple of YouTube videos and blogs, and and look, yeah, I know what you're about to think. You know what you're about to say,
Mhm.
because you know me.
hmm
But Bianca and Montez,
hmm
and I ain't just saying this because of Bianca.
No.
but but if you see anything you see with Bianca and Montez is actually it's entertaining, and I truly believe at some point that deal is coming
hmm
at some point because
Yeah.
both of them are charismatic in avenues other than the ring.
hmm
Especially Montez. People do not realize how funny Montez is. I think Montez could be the one from a comedic standpoint that can step in. Now he's no R-Truth,
hmm
but he is funny.
Yeah, and he's got a hell of an in-ring talent. He can
He
do
is.
things
Yeah,
in
he
the
can
ring.
go.
Oof. Yeah. No, he's
Yeah.
good. He's good. Well,
With,
the other thing
with
too.
all these,
Oh, go ahead, Shane. Yeah, go ahead.
let's say with all these cuts, they've got rid of everybody who's comedic.
Yeah, it's a bunch of robots now.
Yeah,
That part.
I mean,
Yeah.
The Miz is already cleared his entire Twitter of anything WWE.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
And the Miz was heavily disrespected for years because he had the main event of WrestleMania. He's the longest tenured active current person on the roster, full time. And what has he done for the last couple of years? Like for the last 5 or 6 years? What
He's
has
been
he
a
done?
manager. He's been a manager for Logan Paul and now for this
Carmelo Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
If
Yeah.
I'm Tony Khan, I'm gonna tell you like this. And I know they love going get X talent, but look at the cuts under Triple H since he's taken over.
Mm-hmm.
Cedric Alexander, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin.
hmm
Okay, now you add the people from WrestleMania. Now
hmm
you're adding Truth, Carlito, Miz. I read that Karrion Kross's contract is up. He's just gonna work it until it's over. He's gonna probably be out of there.
hmm
And here's the thing: if I'm Tony Khan, the moment these contracts, especially R-Truth, I'm picking up the phone because
hmm
look at the crowd reaction when CM Punk. Everybody, I don't know if y'all remember when CM Punk made his debut in AEW in Chicago that night.
hmm
Yep.
Yep, I remember that.
He blew the roof off.
hmm
Truth, I think, would get a similar reaction. And
hmm
I can see Truth in AEW. Can you imagine Truth in AEW on day one coming down to the ring? And everybody remembers MJF and The Miz were always compared because they look so similar, right?
hmm
And if Miz gets released, I'm hoping that they get him over there and you have that rivalry. But I can see Truth coming to the ring to MJF and walking up to him and looking at him and saying something to the effect of, "It's been a long time. Awesome Truth." And
I was
hugs
Yeah.
him.
re-
And I
I
could
was
see
re-
Miz, yeah, so
I
you
was
can do so
reading
much with
I was
this.
reading something earlier where they play off how he forgets who everybody is, and he confuses Tony and Nick.
Oh, that would be
Oh
great.
yeah, that would be
Oh
Yes.
awesome.
yeah, because they just happen to have the last name, even though there's no relation there
What
whatsoever.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Dustin and Cody? He can walk up to
He could do
Dustin
that. Yeah.
and be like,
Yep.
"Dog, American Nightmare," and hook like there's so
Yep.
much that he can do. So if
Yeah.
I'm Tony Khan, I'm picking
And
up the phone.
Edge too, because Edge retired the name Edge or whatever, and he'd be
Yeah,
like, Edge or something like that, like just as a joke or whatever, But
yeah,
yeah, no. Here's the thing. The thing is if the guy's got the money to do it,
mhm,
and here's the thing, maybe we finally do get guys. It's 2025. We're getting on the verge of that 30-year anniversary of when WCW started getting some of these cuts.
Yep.
And,
mhm.
look, Hogan, Savage, yes, they were past their prime, but it generated a pop. And for 80 something weeks, they kicked WWE's ass and
Did you
made them,
see where?
build superstars and
Yeah,
so
Did you
forth like
see
that.
where Vince is opening up a new promotion?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
14 and
14th and
I
I.
think. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I heard about that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, too. Don't think that these guys wouldn't work for Vince again, because
Oh
Oh
Vince,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm seeing a
absolutely.
lot of guys, the ones that you mentioned, if you think about it, Larry, and you guys chime in on this too. You mentioned Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was in one of the biggest main events, the hair versus hair match, and
Yep.
not to
It
get
was
political, one of them is a president now of the
Yep.
United States. Okay.
Exactly.
So Lashley was for a while there considered the guy, I mean, they really pushed him for a bit.
All the guys that have been cut
Yes.
since Triple H has taken over are all guys that Vince gave huge pushes to.
Strowman. Yep.
Ricochet.
Yes.
Ricochet.
Yep.
Yep. You mentioned Shelton Benjamin. I mean, Shelton Benjamin is going to be one of the worst what if cases of all time because he was right up there with the big four in OVW, Orton, Batista, and he was probably the most talented of all five of them in the ring. He just wasn't
He was
built
definitely the most talented of all of them.
like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
He made up for it in other ways and everything. My goodness, the things he did in the ring.
He gave one of the greatest matches I've ever seen with him and Shawn Michaels when he jumps off that top on free TV when he jumped off that top rope and Michaels super kicked him straight to hell. That was still one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, and they gave him 27 that night. They gave him 27 minutes because it was still going on between the commercial breaks. We couldn't even get to see the good stuff there. So but I say all that, guys. I mean, again, I'm going to go back, to talk about this with the SmackDown. Larry, what did you think of the show? Shane, you were there with with Keegan. I was so glad you guys got to make it. It's unfortunate that the baseball game got rained out, but I'm glad you guys got to go. I was there. I had a great time. What was your all's thoughts? And I'm going to be quiet. Shane, I want you to go first since you were there. Larry, what did you see on TV? Carrie, were you there or you watched it on TV? I
watched it on television. I didn't.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I watched it on TV though. It was really good production. I thought they did a really good job. Yeah. Bianca was great.
I loved it. My son at one point when he's part of this whole YouTube generation. So when Logan Paul came out, I heard my son's voice crack. I had to look over at him like, "Are you fangirling or something, buddy? Like, what's going on?" So he was jumping between Jay and Cody and John and Logan. I'm like, man, like you got to pick one, son.
Larry and Perry, before you say anything, the pop that Jey Uso got in that damn arena, the TV didn't even do it justice.
No, you could feel it.
I mean, yeah, and I think I sent you, I have a video that I want to send you and so forth so you can see it because I started recording it. I was like, when he came down from the stands, I was like, guys, you guys are missing out on an opportunity here. I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, but go ahead, Larry. Honestly, that's all I wanted to throw out there.
First things first, and to your point from the beginning, and obviously with this thing behind me, I'm a Canes fan, but when they played Rocky Top, I thought I wasn't ready for that, but I thought that was genius. I thought that was a genius way to open the show.
I was reading things afterwards. It's like, oh, that sounds like somebody's like, oh, that sounds like a college football game. It's like I wanted to chime in, but like that is Knoxville on any given basketball game.
Yeah,
like we love our former athletes.
Yeah,
and that shows how much passion we carry for anybody who represented the Power T. Like way Bianca did running track here, being from Knoxville. I mean, that was just amazing to me. Like I got goosebumps thinking about it right now.
Mm-hmm. I was totally impressed with the idea of doing it, and then it didn't dawn on me. The outfit she had on was the Tennessee orange. She came out in the Vols colors. And
even when she came out, like when they showed her coming out, she smacked the Power T before she came through the gorilla and everything came out on stage.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't know about all that. I didn't know about the Rocky Top traditions, but it's just to incorporate it. It's almost like when Jim Ross would always incorporate Oklahoma when they played the Oklahoma fight song when Jim Ross used to come out. Yeah. To me, that was just genius. And then the way that they segued into the triple threat with Naomi, Nia, and Jade. And guys, I ain't gonna lie to you, Naomi is really taking this heel thing to another level because to hint that you weren't home, but I was in your house and I saw your pictures, and I'm thinking, you know what I started thinking of? I started thinking of Orton when Triple H broke into his house. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, are y'all teasing that kind of angle to revisit something like that? And then on Twitter, did y'all see what Naomi put on Bianca's Twitter?
Uh-uh.
No, I didn't. What?
I know it had to be agreed upon, and it's a joke, but we know Bianca's mom is in a
In a
wheelchair.
wheelchair, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, right. So Bianca put the picture of her mom, and her dad backstage, and she's like over them hugged. And Naomi didn't even say nothing. She just put an emoji of a wheelchair
Well,
as a
she
response.
even made the
And
comment
she
during.
made that comment.
She
I'm
made
going
that
to put
comment.
you in
She's
a
like,
chair just like your mom or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
oof.
yeah.
Yeah.
and I
So
like the way they incorporated her parents.
they
Yeah.
did, yes, yes. So that was I enjoyed that, and I'm just waiting on this Solo Jacob thing to just implode because I don't know.
Oh,
I
Oh,
love
it's
how they're
there.
building it up. They are building it up,
That
and
dude is a stud. He
Jacob,
needs to be on
Jacob
his
is the
own.
man. Yes,
He's big money. He's big money waiting to happen. The US title to me for him is nothing more than a stepping stone for bigger things ahead, like that title has been for a lot of the greats.
yes,
Then a stepping stone. Jacob Fatu has got all of that. My God. And I'm not even talking about how he moves in the ring. He's got the attitude, he's got the mouth, all gas, no brakes. I love that.
yeah. I
Absolutely
mean,
love that.
Fatu.
guys, can I also throw something out? Let's talk about what was going on a year ago right now. A year ago
Okay.
right now, Solo Sikoa was supposed to be the new bloodline, the chief, the tribal chief. Jimmy Uso got a bigger pop, and Jimmy Uso came out to try to save the day.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, you are not only the third brother or whatever, but like you're not even like the best cousin at the moment, like, or
Right,
anything of that nature, like of that family. Fatu
right.
has surpassed you in every shape of it. Your in-ring ability, the fans love him. I mean, Shane, you heard that pop when he,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, and like it's like this what is it, the Samoan wolf or whatever? I mean, oh my
Werewolf,
god,
Samoan
Samoan
werewolf.
werewolf.
Samoan werewolf, dude, he is a beast in the ring. and
Mhm.
and realistically, I don't know where Solo goes from here. I mean, I'd almost like to joke around that he needs to be sent that back to Tampa and repackaged at this point, because you got really nothing going on. You come out with that turtleneck and everything. I've never seen a short sleeve turtleneck, but he wears it, by the way,
Yeah.
and with that big jacket and that glove, and it's just like, dude, what are you, a James Bond villain? That's what you kind of are looking like, or
Well, James, here's the thing that if I'm Solo, I'd be wary of. I think they're getting real close, and I think by these cuts, I think there's going to be a new wave of signings,
Mhm.
and I think they're getting real close to bringing Zilla. Zilla is right there, and Booker
Yep.
T loves him. I don't know if anybody's been watching Booker T's promotion that based out of Houston,
Mhm.
but Booker T and Zilla have been having a rivalry, and dude, Zilla is charismatic. I mean, he's a natural. He is
Is
a
Zilla the
natural.
same size like Fatu, or is he a little smaller, a
I think
little
I think Zilla's a little bit more bulkier.
okay?
He's not really a flyer. He's not as agile as Jacob Fatu is, but
Mhm.
he's more bulkier. And you can tell he is definitely his father's son. He is definitely Umaga reincarnated.
Oh
Mhm.
wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got the mic skills, he's got the charisma. He looks like he's pretty good in the ring. It's just that he's still got to polish up his skills. But Zilla's on the way. Zilla's
Yeah.
Hanging out
coming.
Well,
with
he
Booker,
needs to be at
hanging
this.
out with Booker T. That's as good as you could get right
That's
there.
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
Booker's
From his
grooming him.
wrestling
Yeah.
school and everything. So, Shane, who I thought, so let's go to that triple threat match with the women and so forth, which I thought was really interesting. I was shocked Jade took the pin. Now, did she piss
Yeah.
somebody off backstage or something like that? I mean, realistically, because I thought that Naya would have maybe been the one to take the pin or whatever like that, but it was Jade. And realistically, they would have lost money had we all put like, $5 in. And okay, maybe you take Naomi, Carrie, Shane, maybe you take Jade, maybe you take Naya, Larry. I would have said Jade. And here's the thing, because with that money in the bank, I would have wanted to see that test of strength with Rhea and Jade in the corner.
Oh
But I
yeah.
guess they're not ready for that yet. Maybe that's
Yeah.
fine. Save it. You don't want to rush it, or whatever. But don't forget about Jade, because her power, her what she can do in the ring. I mean, I just don't want her to be in that next bit of cuts, because they're going to leave something on the table if they do not put her and Rhea in a match, because
I think eventually that's what's going to happen, but I think they're building up for Jade and Charlotte first.
Yeah.
I think that's the build up first for SummerSlam, and then we will get to Jade and Rhea, because eventually it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
They're teasing it.
Yep, they're teasing it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh,
the one I'm watching out for is Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm watching for, because it would not surprise me one bit if she won Money in the Bank this weekend. It would not surprise me one bit if she won.
My wild card for the women's Money in the Bank is Roxanne Perez.
I can
see that too,
because I feel like everything that's going on with her inserting herself in the Judgment Day, her and Liv Morgan kind of having a little words in tension, Raquel, kind of having words in tension. She's kind of throwing herself at Dirty Dom a little bit.
Yep.
Like I saw a meme where it said Dominic Mysterio is a Grand Slam champion because he's about to bag Roxanne, along with Liv.
Way to go, Dirty Dom!
Yeah, Liv's going face. You can slowly see Liv going face because this breakup
Dom's
is
got a
going
wife,
to
a
happen.
girlfriend, and a side chick.
Yes.
Dom's the man.
Say it again, Shane. That's exactly well put. Say it again.
Dom's the man.
Dom's got a wife, a girlfriend, and a side chick.
Yes.
He's the man. He's the man.
Unbelievable. He has carried this promotion by himself, like on Raw. He is the must-see TV. He is basically the face of the Judgment Day. I'm shocked. I really am shocked.
And he's just getting started. That's what's scary about Dom. He's just getting started.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. I think that they do want to maybe make Liv face because of her with this movie that she's going to be in, and they're going to push that, and TKO, baby, they're calling these shots. They say it, and that's going to happen, more than anything. I'll laugh with you guys about something. I would have lost who won the spot in the triple threat match that was also that Friday night. I thought Andrade was going to take the pin. I guess somebody took pity on him being married to Charlotte Flair, that he got a spot in the damn. I mean, are you kidding me? Maybe he's going to be the one that gets thrown off the ladder through a ladder, and he's like, "Oh, just please put me in the match." All right, you put up with Charlotte Flair, that's fine. So let me
ask you guys something, because you just put that on my mind. Looking at the men's Money in the Bank match.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Seth is going to win, because that's almost too easy to predict.
It's got to be somebody that needs that briefcase. Look, I mean, Edge carried it around for a year and then used it on Cena, remember? And everything like that. So, yeah.
I think my prediction for the men's Money in the Bank, I think LA Knight is going to win it.
That's who I think so, too.
That's a good bet.
Because he had those 2 U.S. title runs, and now I think it's time for him to elevate to the main scene.
Yeah.
And everybody's thinking Seth is going to win it, but remember what we've been reading. Roman is coming back with a new Shield. He's coming back with somebody. I really feel like this weekend, Seth is going to be in position to win. It'll be Seth and LA Knight. In some kind of way, Roman is going to insert himself, and he's going to screw over Seth.
I could even see Fatu screwing over Solo, because Solo's in that match as well.
That's a good way to set that up as well.
You're going to see some definitely interference, and I'm hoping it's what we did not get for WrestleMania, because you got to do something for this event. I mean, you've got to, all eyes are going to be on it. But realistically, I'm more intrigued with the women's Money in the Bank than I am the men's.
Me too.
I mean, that's just nuts. So,
because I think Jade is going to interfere in the Money in the Bank and cost Naomi's going to have a chance to win. Jade's going to interfere and cost her the Money in the Bank, and I think that's why Stephanie Vaquer. I could easily see Stephanie winning that Money in the Bank.
So
they are pushing her big time.
If Jade interferes, because I can see that as well. Is this where Bianca finally becomes heel? Because I think they teased something. Because think about it. When the attack on Jade happened and it got revealed that it was Naomi that did it, when Jade first came back, she looks at Bianca looks at her, and Bianca does like this, like, go get her. And Jade went after her and took care of Naomi the first time. Then the other night, Jade comes out, handles Naomi, but then she just has this death stare with Bianca. Like, why are you mad at Bianca when it's being told that Bianca had nothing to do with it? I feel like they're starting to tease it now
I think SummerSlam.
Yes, the heel turn is about
That'd
to
be a,
happen.
that'd be a good play, getting her out after she makes the hometown visit and then turning
Yep.
her heel.
Yes. Because remember, before the injury, she was getting booed a lot because they're getting
Mhm.
stale with her character, just like John Cena all them years ago.
Hmm.
The problem that Vince had was this heel turn you see now should have been done 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and Vince never wanted him to go heel.
Oh, easily.
True.
So this is your opportunity. And if Naomi keeps on, hinting that she wants to make things right with Bianca, and all of a sudden you have some sort of energy going on with Bianca and Jade, at some point Bianca's going to insert herself and side with Naomi again because everybody's waiting for Bianca and Jade eventually. Like that,
Hmm.
when Jade
Mhm.
first came to WWE, that was like the dream women's match. I think everybody
Yep.
wants because they're so similar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I'm going to throw something else out there for you guys that you kind of brought something up to me. So the main event obviously got Jay and Cody against Logan Paul and John Cena. Now, what WWE is going to do, stupidly, is going to make Jay the face in peril and have Cody do the hot tag. I don't agree with that whatsoever. It needs to be the other way around. Let
Yep.
Cena and Logan Paul kick the crap out
Out
of
of
Cody
Cody and
and
let Jay
Jay
sit.
get the hot tag to save the day. That's how you write smart champions. You
Yep.
know, Cody, you had that last year. And, everybody loves to watch him get his ass kicked. So, like, don't do this to Jay. You've already made him very weak in this first month as champion. Redeem yourselves right now,
Yeah.
honestly. And this would be the perfect opportunity to do it. On the flip side, I know you're building up Logan Paul, but John Cena should not be the heel in peril either. When the face is beaten. I mean, the champions need to be strong. That's why you've inserted these two other characters in the match or what have you like that. But again, I don't get paid what these writers do, but they just mess it up all the time, guys. They
But
really do.
James, here's my thing, and this goes back to Triple H and me questioning what's going on with creative. Why do you have both of your champions in a tag match
Thank
where
you.
neither one of them is defending their titles at
Yeah.
Money in the Bank, which is a
Thank you.
major
That's what I
PLE?
wondered too.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, what title is being defended that night? Is any of
I
the
mean, is
titles being defended?
the tag belts on the line because you've got intercontinental champions in the Money in the Bank match or whatever, so they
Well,
obviously can't
Lyra's
do both.
facing Becky.
Again.
Okay, so that's on the line. That's on
Okay.
the line. So yeah.
And in a tag match with Cena and Logan Paul, I'll throw a caveat in. Gunther. I
Yeah.
will throw that wild card in because he is slowly turning face. And him
Hmm.
and Logan Paul, they're heading to put them together in a major showdown, major feud. Because
Well, when is
people are
Goldberg coming? Because I'm seeing that Goldberg is supposed to come and have a feud with Gunther.
Oh my God.
I think that's gonna be that may be a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he can carry a match by himself anymore. I mean, he almost killed
No.
the Undertaker a couple of years ago with that
Yeah.
botch,
No,
and so
I'm
forth. I
on
mean,
a
yeah,
podcast.
yeah, he just, I don't, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: Money in the Bank, and I know we've talked about it. It's one of my favorite B show pay-per-views because of
Mhm.
what's at stake and everything. And Larry, it's lazy booking to put both your champions on there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I mean, is this a SmackDown show? Is this a Raw show? Obviously, you have both because of the representatives and so forth. But I'm just saying that, yeah, you could have done something different. You could have done, maybe John Cena against, I don't know, somebody on the Raw roster or the SmackDown roster, and then Jey Uso against somebody, and maybe have Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes as a separate match. But
Here's my thing.
I don't know.
Why have Jay versus Gunther on Raw?
When you
Why
could have
not
it
have
at
Jay
Money in the
versus
Bank.
Gunther at Money in the Bank?
Exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Now I know you're saving Cody and Cena's rematch more than likely for SummerSlam, but why not have Cena defend the title against somebody else? I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't even think of who he could probably go against because you wasted Randy's opportunity in his
Yeah.
hometown. You disrespected Truth because Truth is the one that helped you win it, only to get thrown through a table, and then a month later gets cut from the company.
Hmm.
Um, you really don't have anybody that I see that could really challenge Cena
Nope.
going into this build up to Cody, except possibly CM Punk.
Thank you.
If
You
you
took
knew
it.
CM Punk wasn't going to be in Money in the Bank, you could have at least started something with CM Punk and Cena because they do got history.
Let them
Yeah.
finish it. Yep.
Yes, they do.
CM Punk has
And
his
finish it.
number. As he said the other night, he has his number. You know Cena's going to win some kind of way. You could have did that. That would have jazzed up the title matches instead of having Logan Paul team with one champion versus Cody teaming with another champion. You're taking the thunder away from Jay and you're just adding to the snooze fest of the heel turn of Cena.
It's just like I said, they don't know what they're doing, and I almost want to know who really is got the final call on creative because back remember it was Vince. Like Vince would tell somebody it's a horrible idea. We're going to do this instead. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like one of those deals where come on, I mean, realistically. So yeah, I really I do want to do the money in the bank predictions of who we think and so forth.
Okay.
Let's what I do want to do is let's get to this NBA finals. It's going to start Thursday. Obviously OKC is the heavy favorite. I have heard that basically speaking that people are saying the Indiana's never faced a defense like what they're going to face in OKC. People are saying that it's going to be done in 4 or 5. I hope to goodness gracious that it's a long series. As much as free basketball as we can get because we have to wait for a while before, unless you care about summer league and seeing the rookies and all that. But what I'm getting at is I want a good series here. And truth be told, I wouldn't count out Siakam. He was on that Toronto Raptors team that nobody gave a chance to against Golden State, and look what happened in that series and everything like that. So,
Well, if you also throw
but
in KD and Clay getting hurt in that
yeah, that
series
that
and
yeah,
Kawhi Leonard, that
and
was
that's what
the
I'm saying.
difference.
And I don't want anything to happen, obviously, to any of these Thunders, but players. But things could happen. But the truth of it is that I look at this. Let's play the games and see what happens. But I guess my question to you guys, flat out, is: does Indiana have a chance in this at all?
They have a puncher's chance, but I see the hockey final going longer than this final. I
I
think
do too.
OKC in 5.
Yeah,
I think the Knicks would have been a tougher matchup for Oklahoma City because the Knicks are so physical, just like they are. It would have been a tougher matchup. Indiana is good. They run pace, but OKC can run the same pace that Indiana runs, and they've got bigs that can run the
Chet
pace
Chet Holmgren and
with
yeah,
Holmgren
yeah,
and Hammerstein and Lou Dort and those guys. They've got height, but they can also run at the same pace Indiana can. That's why I think Indiana's got a tough. This is a tough matchup for Indiana. It
yeah,
would have worked out better had Minnesota won the final with OKC, but Minnesota had no chance.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's
And
true.
I have my opinions about them. The only reason I think that Minnesota made it far is that Steph Curry got hurt in game 1 of that series. Because if Steph Curry doesn't get hurt, I think Golden State gives Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City still wins that series, but Golden State would have made it a 7-game series instead of the 5-game series that Minnesota made it.
I
Minnesota
could
was
see
out of
that.
this series at game 2.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Larry, Kerry touched on something too. The Knicks were possibly were probably the better matchup against OKC. But here's even one better. Tom Thibodeau got fired today.
Yep.
That's a crock.
I,
That
I, I mean, guys, what's the standard now? I mean, if that's the case, then you should have fired 14 managers that didn't make the NBA playoffs. I mean, is that what it's coming to now? I
James
mean,
Dolan. That
You
came had to come from James Dolan, the owner. That
you
had to have.
you fired a man who took your team to 2 consecutive 50-win seasons and got you to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. I
Improved.
question. Yes, I
Improved every
question
year he coached.
your judgment. And I told a buddy of mine today, I said, New York, you are now going to be the further East Coast version of the Chicago Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
You just killed your franchise just like he killed the Chicago Bulls because, as I said last time, I get it. He was rough on his players and he was really intense, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But results outweigh that to me. Because as I told somebody today,
Yeah.
Chicago, since his exit, has done nothing but gotten eliminated from the play-in. They haven't won a series in like 11 years.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Yep.
And New York has been seeing playoff success for the first time the last couple of years because of him.
Mm-hmm.
You may not like him, but he's a doggone good coach.
Yep.
I'll give you one even better, Larry, and
Mhm.
and James. Jalen Brunson the other night in this press conference stood behind Coach Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 years ago, when Jalen Brunson made All Pro, he was offered the supermax of $350 million. He took half to help the team get better. He sold half of that. He wanted his team to win a championship. Whoever they bring in better have his back. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have Jalen Brunson's back, he can convince the rest of them not to have the new coach, whoever the new coach is. And they better get a name. Because if you fire a guy like Thibodeau, a
It's
guy
got
as
to be Malone.
decorated, it's either Michael Malone. I'm hearing Jay Wright coming out of retirement, former Villanova coach. I'm also hearing Jason Kidd. Now I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get him out of Dallas with that contract that he's got. He's got a loaded contract that would make him even more money for leaving Dallas than what they're paying him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
That's
not to mention, he could have a loaded roster if they keep the Cooper Flag pick and go from there.
exactly.
I mean, that I'm just, I mean, and is Kyrie going to be back? You got Clay, you've got AD, you've got Derek Lively, another young guy on the roster. I mean, they've got a good roster out there,
They
but
got a very
the
good
East would be
roster.
easier to win than the West, or
Yeah,
you know what
because
I mean?
look
I
at
mean,
because Jason Tatum ain't going to be back for a year.
at least a
Right.
year.
The
At
Right.
East
least a
is
year.
opened up completely.
And you don't know what
Right.
Giannis is going to do. Giannis could go out to the West. Milwaukee, that you could get them out. So
If
Yeah.
Milwaukee was smart, you trade him west.
yeah.
You don't want to face him in the East for the next
No,
10 years.
you don't.
The Jay Wright thing kind of intrigues me, just because you do have that group, that Villanova group
Mm-hmm.
that is there, and I don't know if they can find a way to get DiVincenzo back or whatever, but he had a good year with Minnesota. I think it worked out for all parties. They just didn't meet. I mean, let me tell you something. That would have been something special had New York and Minnesota met in the finals
Yep.
based
Mhm.
on that trade. I mean, Julius Randle and that would have been intriguing in my opinion. So
To
Yeah.
me, Leon Rose, the general manager, needs to be falling under some heat too, because you traded all of your number one picks. You traded 5 number one picks for Mikal Bridges, a guy that's never made an all-star team.
yep.
Now, and 4 of them were unprotected, which basically means Brooklyn's going to be setting themselves up shop for the next 5 to 7 years. And
They
then
really are worse than the Nets. They really
they're
are, man.
worse.
They
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And Thibodeau now, for getting fired, Dolan's got to pay him the last $33 million of a contract they extended him last year.
I feel like Thibodeau is going to wind up in New Orleans eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with the Zion stuff, I don't know if you guys have heard, but
Yeah,
locally
that
they've been
was-
talking about it. Zion has a lot of trouble going on,
Mhm.
and management has said everybody on the Pelicans roster is up for trade. Like nobody.
I was gonna ask you, do you think they trade Zion?
I don't think Zion has
I
a
don't.
future in the
I don't
NBA.
think nobody's going to take him because
I don't
one,
know.
he's always had injury issues, and now you add these allegations. I don't think nobody's going to take him.
Yeah.
I really
That
believe
wouldn't surprise
Zion is
me a
about to
bit.
be finished.
Well, and I'm going to tell you this. Me and Larry had a conversation outside of here. Truth be told, Duke has even distanced themselves from
Yes.
Zion. They have, and listen, love him or hate him, Krzyzewski will never let that brand ever get damaged by
Tarnished
somebody
it.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, he's tarnished. Thank you.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing: you still got Tatum, who did get injured, but Paolo Banchero is still doing pretty good. You've got this Cooper Flag kid that could really blow up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need that. Now this is the only blurb that will be listed when it's official. Oh, these are the former Duke #1 picks: Elton Brand, Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? And then you'll see Z Williamson. That is the only mention that will have.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, no, I don't think anybody touches him because, again, here's the thing: you're going to get a lot of baggage, and that young man has not shown he's serious to play 82 games. He just
Right.
is not. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
And
yeah.
and
But
not just the baggage, the trouble baggage, his own baggage, his weight control. He
yeah,
can't seem to be in shape at any time for basketball season, and I just don't get that. He's too talented to not be in shape.
he's got too much money, guys. These actors pay
Yep.
people to like look at Nicolas Cage. He's gained all this weight to be the John Madden in that John Madden movie, and
Yep.
so forth like that. These people have nutritionalists and people to get them into the roles. Well, guess what? You're not an actor, but you're an athlete, and you better have the best of the best to keep you against. What would you say? There's what, 16 on every roster, 32 teams. So,
Yeah, somewhere in there.
somewhere in there. Okay. So let it be that you've got what, about 400 professionals, and then you got a bunch of D League guys just chomping at the bit, bunch of foreign guys, and some guys that had to go the foreign route. You were
Hmm.
given the keys to the kingdom and you spit
Literally.
in everybody's face. You
Yep.
did. You did, I mean, you could have been an exciting player. And I'm just like, why are you? I mean, oh my God. Like, I know you ain't the best looking dude in the world, but at the same time, why are you messing around with that though? Like,
And and especially in
why?
New Orleans. New
Yes.
Orleans is starved for a winner. They appreciate hard work and good. They'll come see if you play hard and all that. They're gonna come see you, man. They
Yeah.
love spending money down there. They
Let
love
me
going to
It-
see
let me
people.
let me tell you about how that goes down here because as everybody knows, the Saints, they take precedence over everything,
Yes.
you
mhm.
know.
Yeah.
But the Pelicans, when they did have playoff seasons with Chris Paul and Baron Davis and all of those guys over the years, the fans actually did come out and support. The
Yep.
fans
Mhm.
down here, they want to support Pelicans basketball.
Hmm.
Dude, right now they've been having advertisements. I heard it on the radio today and I just can't get over it. They've been having advertisements. They're practically giving Pelican season tickets away. They have what they call the competitors package, where you'll get season tickets against, or get a 12-game package rather, against like the upper echelon NBA teams for like $100 or something like that. But
Wow.
then they have the other package where they'll allow you to get tickets against the lower tier teams for like $30, 12 games. They're giving tickets away down here
Wow.
to the Pelicans games. They can't
Unbelievable.
fill the seats because they suck.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you guys something? And Shane, I'd love your opinion about the Tom Thibodeau firing. That's what we were just talking about with the Knicks and everything like that.
That
Let's
shocked
do.
me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like you guys said, back to back 50 win seasons got you to the first finals, Eastern
Four
Conference, and
four
yeah,
playoff
four
appearances.
playoff appearances. First Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 25 years or what have you. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really is.
That would have been
Um,
what,
yeah, but
99?
yeah,
99. Yeah.
yeah.
99.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think they went to 99 and 2000, if I'm not mistaken. I
They
think.
Yes, they
lost their
did.
they
They
lost
beat
they lost
Indiana one and they lost Indiana in 2000.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
yeah,
because they
because
lost to
they
the
played the
Spurs in the
Spurs in
finals.
'99.
Yeah, they lost to. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Because I was a huge
Um,
Allen Houston fan.
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Well, and here's the other thing too. So I'm going to ask you guys something. Let's go back to the 2019 NBA draft. Okay, if the Knicks had gotten the #1 pick, obviously they were going to take Zion. Okay, they ended up
Hmm.
with the third because Memphis got Ja, and then they got R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett's now over with Toronto. But my
Yep.
question is this: if the Knicks had gotten the #1 pick, where would Zion's career be now? Talk about the temptation of the easy down there in New Orleans, New York City with him. I mean, what would he have done there?
I think he would have did better. I
You think
think
Yeah.
so?
because the
Okay.
reports, I remember the reports at first were that it was after his first couple of years when he first came up for trade a couple of years ago after the conclusion of his first contract. There was a lot of speculation down here that he wanted to be in a big city and a big market. So I think had Zion went to the Knicks, I think he would have taken his nutrition better, his fitness better. I think he would have actually done better. Zion's down here, and essentially it's been said and reported many times down here locally that he really don't want to be here. But the franchise is not going to let him go because, for one, what are they going to get for him? You know, who's going to give up? Look how much assets the team would have had to give it up to get him. Nobody's biting on that trade. I mean, look at the trade where they got Lonzo Ball and those other guys from the Lakers. You know,
Yeah.
now that to me was a decent trade,
Hmm.
but for Anthony Davis. So imagine Zion, who had so much more upside at the time than what
He
Anthony
did.
Davis had,
The Hulk for
even
him would have been great.
exactly. So you really would have had to get something big back in return, and nobody wanted to bite on that. So I think if he'd have went to New York, it would have been a little bit different.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Well, all I know is that the Knicks, I think, made a major mistake getting rid of Thibodeau, especially like you mentioned, Kerry. Tatum's out for a year with the Celtics. You don't know what they're going to come back with. Philadelphia has not been really a contender ever since, a couple years ago. Milwaukee with Giannis, you don't know what you're going to get with that.
Wide
You don't know
open.
what the Heat are going to do because they kind of have always been around there. I just am looking at this and it's like, I think you may have, if they screw up next year, then fire him. But I think
Yeah.
he earned the right to run it back one more time with that group and
Yep.
see what happens because you get the number one, maybe get the number one seed next year, home court throughout, and see what happens more than anything. That's where I think they messed up. So, but Shane, let me ask you this: what do you think about OKC Indiana? Do you got them OKC sweeping, or how far do you got this series going in this one? So
OKC in 5.
OKC in 5.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. I think we're all in
I just
agreement
don't know how
then.
the
I
I don't know
mean,
how the NBA feels about having two small market teams playing for the finals.
they're
Exactly.
pissed. They're pissed because they know that even though that the games are going to be on ABC like traditionally, we know that TNT is going to have the highest ratings with the NHL. They've got a whole country in Canada going to be tuning in to see
Yep.
if Edmonton can get that curse of the Canada not winning the cup. And then you've got a very big market in South Florida that does like the Panthers. That's their winner right
Yep.
now,
Hmm.
going for back to back. So you've got an interest in that series, but you've got an NBA series right now with a lot of young stars, but in very small markets, and maybe they're not
Yeah,
well
you,
known.
you don't you
Yeah,
don't have the star power of wanting to tune in and watch. You're not
you
gonna
don't.
get you're not gonna get the person who doesn't tune in until the finals to watch. Everybody like, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, at least
Which
last
was
year
which
you
was
had Jason Tatum and the Celtics, and you had Kyrie and Luca with the Mavericks. Even though
yeah.
the
Yeah,
Exactly.
Mavericks
we
came
had
in,
star power.
yeah, you had star power.
And two good markets
And two good
with
markets. Yeah,
Dallas and Boston.
yes, very big markets. So yeah, yeah, and two teams that hadn't won it in a while. Like honestly,
Exactly.
Dallas hadn't won since they upset the Heat in 11, and then the Celtics, since what the three amigos were there at the
Oh
time,
nine, I think. Oh
Garnett,
eight, oh
and all
nine.
them, the Ray
Yeah.
Allen,
Yep.
yeah, yep. So
Right before
yeah,
Ray Allen jumped ship.
yeah, right before Ray Allen jumped ship. So yeah, I mean Paul Pierce, yeah. So it was
Yeah,
a team that hadn't won it in a while.
KG and Paul still hate Ray Allen for that one.
They do. They do.
Yeah, they
So,
do.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, the one interesting thing is that one of these two teams will be winning their first championship. They will be winning their first. That's something intriguing right there, honestly, more than
Hmm.
more than
I'm
anything.
still mad that OKC got the team and Seattle lost them.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
salty about that.
Well, can I tell you this? Because the Sonics were kind of cool back in the day with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and
Gary Payton.
Detlef Schrempf, and the truth of the matter is that Just imagine if they were still in Seattle. That's a big market right there that could
Yeah.
be tuning
They were
in.
even cooler when I was older, back in my day, with Jack Sigma, Downtown Freddie Brown, Gus Johnson. Those in the late 70s, the battles they had with Washington. Those were my first taste of watching NBA finals, was them in Washington in 78 and 79. And those battles they had with Wes Unseld, with Elvin Hayes.
Yep.
Those were great battles. That's how far I go back, remembering Seattle basketball. Seattle was a great market for NBA basketball.
I have a question for you guys because somebody maybe has the answer and I don't. Why did they go to OKC? Because hear me out on this. If you're not wanting to be in Seattle, the next best one that I would have think of to stay out west would have been Vegas as opposed to
Well,
OKC. Like, why did that happen? I mean, I don't.
what I remember is when Katrina came through, the Hornets, or the Pelicans now, went
Mhm.
to OKC.
Uh-huh.
That's where they located them, and then the
Yep.
turnout was amazing at that time because
Okay.
you got this middle of America
Okay.
area that's finally got an NBA team,
Yep.
and
That
then
makes
the
sense.
NBA saw the way it was, and then at the time the NBA was controlling the Pelican or the Hornets at that time was controlling
Right.
them.
Yep.
So it's like, oh hey, Seattle's struggling, let's move them here because they took new ownership. But
And they wanted, and Seattle campaigned for a new arena.
yeah,
And
and you
Seattle was
had just
campaigning for a new
drafted
arena, and the
KD.
mayor
KD had
shot it
been what?
down.
Look, how many seasons was KD up there in Seattle before they moved to OKC?
Two,
Like two.
actually. First two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you had the star power coming in because if the league had played out the way it was, you were still gonna get Westbrook and Harden. Can you imagine
Yep.
what Seattle had been like with them there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's.
He's the only remaining Seattle Supersonic in history. Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Harden, and West. Him. He's the last one.
He
The
is.
last one.
He is. So yeah. I would. Thanks for. I forgot about that. That they did have to play those games because of being
Yep.
misplaced with the hurricane.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, Shane. That's awesome because I
Yep.
forgot about that. And so that makes sense of why that was. But Seattle had those cool green uniforms, the Supersonics, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
in the '90s Sonic the Hedgehog. That all that
Yep.
stuff kind of was a big deal, and so forth. But yeah,
And they tried to get a new arena in Seattle years ago, but the mayor and the governor of Washington shot it down.
Yep.
But a year later, the Seattle Seahawks got their brand new football stadium, and Sonics ended up moving to Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City wanted them.
Wow.
Doesn't Seattle still have the WNBA team?
Yep.
Yeah, the
They
Storm, I
They
believe.
had the
Is it?
Yeah,
Storm,
Seattle
Sue
Storm.
Bird,
Yeah,
Sue Bird, and then that bunch.
yeah.
Well,
A bunch of titles.
And
since y'all
now they have a hockey team, but they couldn't
Yeah.
find a way to keep the basketball team.
since y'all are on the subject of franchises, New Orleans back in '95 almost got the Timberwolves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I remember the local papers because I was excited because I liked Kevin Garnett, even though I was a
Mhm.
Bulls fan, but Jordan wasn't playing at the time. And the Times Picayune here in the city, they put out the ad, got him with a picture of the Timberwolves jersey.
Wow.
And I mean, I was 18. I don't remember exactly what happened, but some stuff went down and the deal got reversed.
Can I tell you something? I don't know if this has any effect on it, but I would have been very shocked that Minnesota would have lost a second big pro team in that span because remember they lost the North Stars to Dallas two
To
years
Dallas.
before
Yep.
or what
Yep.
have you. So
Yeah.
that was
Yep.
probably and here's the thing: I could have seen the Timberwolves leaving before the North Stars because it's Minnesota hockey. That's a big deal up
Yeah.
there, and everything like that. And now the Minnesota has the Wild, but it ain't the history of the Minnesota North
No.
Stars
Right.
like that.
Right.
And then and actually for a while there, the Stars was Dallas's only winner. I mean, they
Yeah.
really were. I mean, like when the Cowboys had their heyday, it's been the Stars carrying them until the Mavericks won that 1-11 or
Yeah,
whatever.
they
I
Yeah.
mean,
beat my Sabres in '98 in the Cup final that I'm still living down because
yeah.
that was a tough final to swallow.
Yeah, I remember that final too. Yeah, because Mike Madonna was on the Dallas Stars,
Yep.
whatever. Yeah, so
And Dominic Hasek was in goal for
I remember
for
that.
Buffalo.
Dominic Hasek. Yeah. So,
Yep.
I mean,
well,
but if Charlotte can get its franchise back and get the Hornets back with their name, why can't we get Seattle back?
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. It
Like
really is.
if they're going to do expansions again, you give Seattle back its team. and then you got to add somebody on the East Coast again. But I don't know who
Well, I
you add out east.
understand if they do expansion, Seattle is supposed to be the West Coast team.
Hmm.
Seattle has been promised an NBA team eventually.
Well, they need to be. I mean, that's a big market up
Well,
there. So, you know.
who's Vegas? Who's Vegas get?
That's a good question.
Because they've got football and they've got baseball and they got hockey.
And
Who
they
they
got
gonna get
hockey.
basketball wise?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and you got them hosting a Final Four coming up very soon. So,
In 2 years, I think.
yeah, exactly. So,
Do the Kings leave Sacramento and go to Vegas?
That's a possibility. That's
I
Yeah.
been
think
talked
I could
about.
see that. I could definitely see that. Yeah. The
Because
loss.
They got
Sacramento's not competing with the rest of the teams in California, so you
No.
might as well.
Yeah.
Well, and you could keep the name. I mean, couldn't they keep the name
Yep.
too? They'd
You
be
can
the
keep
Las
the
Vegas
Las
Kings or
Vegas
whatever
Kings.
like that. That'd
Yep.
be kind of cool. I
Yeah, they've
mean,
kept
Yeah,
the Kings name in Kansas
it would
City
go
and
with
in
the
a
Knights.
couple other places. So yeah.
it'd go with the Knights. Yeah, I like that. So Raiders, Pirates,
Yeah.
which Well, all right. So I got one for you guys. I know we don't ever talk Major League Baseball on this show. We never have. But I just want to bring this up to you because if we're talking about moving teams or what have you, um, Florida Marlins last night, or Miami Marlins, whatever the hell they're called now, managed to outdo themselves. They had a paid attendance of 5,231 in a stadium that seats 45 to 50,000 that they made the people of Dade County pay for with taxes.
They can't give tickets away down there,
They
man.
can't. Demolished our precious Orange Bowl, Larry, for that monstrosity of an arena. I
Yep.
know the Orange Bowl was an old girl or whatever, but the upgrades that could have been done on that
What
stadium rather than just
Yeah.
rebuilt.
what you do is you move the Marlins to Nashville.
Thank you. You took it right out of my. You took it right out of my mouth. Yep.
Turn the Titans' old stadium into a new baseball stadium
Yep.
since
Yep.
they're moving next door.
Since they're moving next door, and make that a baseball stadium. You can do it, and literally make the Nashville whatever you want. If you want to call them the
Nashville Sound, I think is what it's going to be.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
just do that. So, but I was just thinking
And
about
then
that. I was
and
like,
then you pull everybody around here who either has to be a Reds fan or a
mhm,
Braves fan, and you start making that generational change like we did with the Titans when they came here.
yeah,
Or a Cub fan.
yeah, or a Cub fan,
Yeah.
yeah, because of WGN. So yeah,
Yeah.
and here's the other thing, Larry. And if the Marlins did move, I would hope that Miami would jump on that because that's a perfect 45,000 seat stadium, much closer to Coral Gables, and you've got a dome that can retract. So don't
Yeah.
let it go to waste. But and you're on the old site of where the Orange Bowl was or whatever.
I will forever say that when they made that deal to get rid of the Orange Bowl, that
That
is
was
what
it.
the curse of the Hurricanes. The
Yep.
Hurricanes
Well, I'd
have been
even
right
throw
there.
that. I'd even throw the Dolphins. Ever since the Dolphins left the
Yep.
Orange Bowl to Joe Robbie Stadium, and now it's
Yep.
called Hard Rock, they have been absolute dog crap. They've maybe
Trash.
made the playoffs maybe 4 times and not gotten past. I think the only time they got to the AFC Championship was losing to your Bills, Kerry, in
Yep.
'92 or what
Mhm.
have you. And but they've not gone even back there since then or what have
Right.
you. So, but yeah,
You talk about the Marlins moving, the Devil Rays may move too, and you could move them. And there's another city, Nashville, not just Nashville, but Portland,
yeah,
which only has the Trailblazers, has been dying for another professional sports franchise for a long, long time.
Yeah.
One of them could either get the Devil Rays or the Marlins at the rate
Yeah.
you're going, because Nashville's hot for one. Nashville would have a baseball team to complete the set.
Nashville. Let me just tell you this: Nashville would be is amazing. I was just there this weekend, and here's the thing: the way that they were there for that Vanderbilt College World Series thing and so forth. I mean, they would love their baseball there. They would support the professional teams. And then here's the other thing too: I heard that the Predators in hockey were demanding a new arena, and so what the city agreed on is they were just going to do changes to Bridgestone Arena
They
there.
should. Bridgestone still is barely 20 years old.
Yeah, it is, and they get great concerts there. So what they're doing is they're expanding Bridgestone
They
to
should.
accommodate, and that's what they're doing right now, and so forth. So, but yeah. But speaking of hockey, real quick, and I know Shane just stepped out for a second. We got the Panthers and Edmonton Part 2 coming up. It's tomorrow night. Edmonton, because they finished 3 points higher than the Panthers, get the home ice advantage. But truth be told, guys, I mentioned this last week. The Panthers have done better on the road than
Mhm.
they have at home. I mean, it's just insane. So, What are you guys thinking in this series? Do the Panthers repeat, or does Edmonton, with a whole country behind them, get that monkey off the Canada's back, that they finally bring the cup back to where it originated from in Canada?
This is going to be a great series. You got Connor McDavid, who's universally the best player in the world, on
Mm-hmm.
one side with a second shot. This time, he's got home ice
Mm-hmm.
that he didn't have last year.
Yep.
Florida, and like you said, Florida's tough on the road as anybody has been, especially over the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great series, and I say this for Edmonton's sake. If not now, when?
I
Because
say
McDavid
Edmonton.
is getting older. He's getting older, and the salary cap, they can't keep people around. How long is it going to be until they get into a Gretzky situation with him?
Mm-hmm.
Because sooner or later, they're not going to be able to afford him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Yep.
the same thing with Gretzky that happened 30 years earlier, 40 years earlier, could happen with McDavid. Pick up.
It could. It could. So, guys, what's your thoughts? Do you think that the Panthers repeat, or do you think Edmonton gets that monkey off Canada's back and brings home the cup?
I think Edmonton takes it.
How
I
many games?
say 6.
6. Okay. Okay.
Well, you're talking to somebody that's never watched a hockey game in his life, because in South Louisiana we don't watch hockey. I don't know
Well, I'm
nothing
going to tell you
about
this.
that.
Maybe you might need to tune in tomorrow night just
I
for
might
that
have to
girl.
start
Maybe
checking
that
it
girl
out.
might get the crowd riled up. You know, you're not doing this thing at Carolina. That doesn't get anybody fired up, but old oil cans might get them going up in Canada or whatever.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't know anybody here in Louisiana that watches hockey, and very few people watch baseball. Like older people watch baseball, like you
Yeah.
say with WGN with the Cubs, but like Gen X on down, you don't have too many baseball fans down here. So for the sake of the question, I don't know nothing about who's, but I do know Florida won it last year, because I remember when all my Miami buddies were hyped about it.
Yeah, I was. So
But
sure.
I think I'm gonna go with Edmonton only because when you get a rematch, normally that team that lost
Mm-hmm.
comes back harder.
Yeah.
And if they do have the advantage of the home ice, I think, and I'm just going with a narrative. I don't know. I'm just
I think it's a
basic
great. I
general.
think it's a great pick, Larry.
I think they use that to their advantage. I think they use that as motivation, and I think they avenged last year's loss. I think you might be setting up a potential every year type of, or every other year type of matchup. Somebody else might get into the Stanley Cup at some point, but these are probably going to be two of the last standing almost every year, or the last
Yeah.
four in the
Without
conference
a doubt.
finals every year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go with Edmonton.
One thing that you do know, Larry, about sports, it's about organizations that take care of their people and they know what it takes to win. And the amount of people that are on Edmonton staff or whatever, they have like 40 to 60 people in their front office. Florida's
Yeah,
kind of in a similar situation. So what I'm getting at is Toronto's the same way. These teams are the ones that care, and when you have a good organization, most of the time you're going to be in that conversation every time. Now, here's what I'm going to say, and look, I'm not trying to be the Florida homer or anything like that. I'm going to go like this: if the Panthers win tomorrow night, it could be a case where they get in Edmonton's head. If Edmonton comes out and smokes them, I'm going to say this: I feel very reminiscent as a Heat fan. This could be like the Spurs and Heat, where the Spurs won in 5 games.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Edmonton just takes it to Florida. Maybe Florida gets one at home just to maybe save face or whatever like that. Or maybe steals game 2. I don't know. But it is very more important for Edmonton to win game 1, because if they don't and lose home ice, then the narrative is like, we can't beat them. Like we can't. But Florida also has a tendency to get kicked in the face, and when they get kicked in the face, they fold. Like when Vegas really took it to them that
Yep.
first time, because they hadn't really been challenged it up to when they faced a team like Vegas. And like you said, Kerry, if not now, when for Edmonton? This is it, and
And
you've got a country behind you, I
and
believe.
I'm like
Right.
you. I want to see what happens tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like you said, if Edmonton wins, we could be running into that situation of 2013 when the Spurs did what they did to the Heat.
Yep.
If
And I
Florida
believe that.
wins, we have a big psychological. Florida will have a psychological advantage that may be bigger than stealing home ice. And
Absolutely.
then we start questioning, what does Edmonton have to do to get to over the hump?
Yeah.
Because if they don't beat them now with home ice, they're going to be answering questions like this for the next year, going, what does Connor McDavid have to do? He's great in team competitions and world championship, but when it comes to the Stanley Cup, he could be 0 for 2.
Yep.
Gretzky and them never went 0 for 2. Heck, at one time, Gretzky and them went 5 for 5.
I know. I know.
And they didn't
And
lose to anybody.
and it's like what Tupper said, the curse of Gretzky. Like, is that even entering in the fold at
Yep.
this point? So
Hmm.
here's the thing. Can I say this about both series? I want both series to be as competitive because, guys, it's a long summer till August. That's all I'm gonna. It's a
Yeah.
long summer till August. I mean that. So, one more thing I do want to talk about. And Larry, like you mentioned, college baseball. LSU still in this. I know you're not an LSU fan, but the thing is I
I
was
heard
watching
a
a
lot of
documentary.
commentary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'll tell you this. I was watching a documentary. If you've never seen those SEC storieds on the
Those are
SEC
great
network,
stuff.
that is great stuff. And I watched the one on Skip Bertman, and
Yeah.
just like how great he was, and how he transitioned to athletic director, and
Yep.
they've won a tie. They have won one College World Series with Mancelli, who he pretty much handpicked to kind of succeed him after the guy that was the guy after him. But
Oh,
what I'm
pulmonary.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
The Merrick,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
him.
Bergman won, I think,
Five? I think he
5.
won five easily.
Yeah,
I
he
think.
won 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
So
90s.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just
So
remember that last team because Paul Skeens was just a
Yep.
monster.
hmm
He,
Yeah.
he was just unbeatable, unhittable, and unbeatable.
yeah.
And he's with Pittsburgh now, and it's a damn
Yep.
shame that the Pittsburgh Pirates can't do anything good at baseball because this kid's going to be a Yankee or a Dodger or somebody in 2 years. When
Yeah,
his
Yeah,
that
first
man.
contract runs
there's the
out,
Easy.
curse of Barry Bonds right there for
he's going to
Pittsburgh. I
be a
mean,
Yankee or a Dodger in 2 years.
I just don't understand that how those like that's why I don't really cover Major League Baseball because all these people they have all these great prospects only to go to the damn Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers or teams that have the most money. That and there's no
Hmm.
cap. There's no cap. I mean,
Yep.
if you have a cap, you might even it up, but it's just how it is. I mean, that's why I can't really get into that sport. I just can't. So,
Right.
I
yeah,
can understand that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't watch a professional baseball game. Give me a college
No,
game all day.
give
Give me
me a
college
college
all
game.
day.
Give
Give me
me a
I
college
do.
college
all
I
game
day.
do.
any day.
Now, I'm not big into baseball, but right now I am watching college baseball. I am paying attention because I
Love
thought
college
LSU,
baseball,
they
man.
were down, I think 5-1 last night
To Little Rock, yeah.
to Little Rock. And I'm like, oh, y'all about to get knocked out at home in the regional? I
hmm
went to bed.
Well,
And when I
well,
got up this morning and went to work and it was saying on the radio that they came back and won, I'm like, what? I should have stayed up for this shit.
and Larry, I'm going to tell you this. That's why I said I felt that this weekend watching these college baseball games, and I watched Vanderbilt lose this weekend.
Mhm.
They were the number one overall seed. You had Texas, who was the number two overall seed, lose to Texas San Antonio, which is like
Yeah.
little brother beating big brother over there.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then but there were the upsets that happened this weekend is what we were missing from the March Madness tournament. Now,
Yeah.
now
Yes.
you did have a fantastic Final Four and championship game. You may not get that with who's left because lo and behold, you had 13 SEC teams get bids, most ever. Now there's only four left. Two of them are
Right.
playing against each other, which means one is
One
guaranteed
of
to go to
one's
the
getting
College
knocked
World
out.
Series.
Yeah.
The
And
Yeah.
ma- the
Arkansas
matchup
right
I
now is a
would
favorite. Yeah, I
the
mean,
matchup I would want to see in the College World Series, which we're going to get this weekend instead, would be Tennessee Arkansas.
Yep.
yep, yep, yep.
It's a shame we're getting this in a super regional instead of in
Exactly, as
Omaha.
opposed to when it is
It
that. Yeah,
whichever team comes out of that wins the World Series.
Yep.
I believe that. No, I really believe that. I really do. Because
So
look who's
so
left.
what are the matchups in the Super
Well,
Region?
Miami upset Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg
I saw
last
that.
night,
Yeah.
and so Miami's there. And I don't know if JD Artiega, who I think is the worst coach ever, and I can say that as a Canes fan, if he sold his soul before this regional because he got Vanderbilt out and they didn't play Louisville in the regular season, there was that weird matchup
And
that
now they're
he didn't.
playing each other in the
And now they're
Super
playing
Regional.
each
I
other
think
for
in
a
Louisville,
chance to go to Omaha, and
and I
this
think in Louisville.
yeah. Oh, Louisville will beat them. No, I mean, unless JD Artiega really sold his soul. I don't know,
So
but
so
I'm just
so
saying.
so what's the super regional site for them? Which super
Louisville.
regional?
Louisville
Louisville.
got it because
Louisville?
they were technically a higher seed. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
But it would have
Gotcha.
been in Vanderbilt had Vanderbilt held serve. So
Yeah.
now Texas San Antonio has to travel to UCLA, I believe, who was the 15 seed.
Okay.
And so they're two teams. Obviously, Tennessee's traveling to Arkansas. That was 3 versus 14.
How
Um,
about this one?
Go ahead.
Duke and Wright State.
Yeah.
Duke and Murray State. Duke
Duke
and
and Murray
Murray
State. Yeah,
State.
because Duke upset Georgia, and let me tell you this. I don't know if you followed this or not. The umpire kicked Duke's best player out of the game for the most stupidest reason. He came out because they do a celebration where they put a hard hat on, and he came out of the dugout. But as he was coming out of the dugout, he took the hard hat off. The umpire saw it, tossed him out of the game, and why that's a big deal. Unless it's
He's out
appealed,
for
Barry,
the next
he's
game.
out for game one, and he's their best player. And it's like,
Whoa.
look, who cares of what the team name is? The umpire made a call there that is going to dictate having. And this super regionals doesn't even have a lot of big names already. So you're going to have a big name
Exactly.
be sitting down. You don't make that call. It's not like he went out there and ran the bases with it on. No, like, I mean, he literally was excited. His team just took the lead, and you make that call in the 8th inning.
And it's
That's a
like what
Well, we
real.
happened
got
with Peebles last night. He said one thing and he gets kicked out of the game, yet Wake Forest was over there chirping all kinds of stuff during the game, and none of them could, and he's out for
Mhm.
game one.
Mhm.
But
yep.
actually, that might actually turn out to benefit Tennessee because now it may dictate their pitching matchup because they're thinking of throwing Phillips game one, bring Peebles and Doyle back together for game
2.
two,
Yep.
and then let the chips fall where they may. If we're 1-1 for game three, Tennessee's got
If
the
Phillips
deeper
Phillips
bullpen.
pitches the way he did towards the end of that game
Yep.
on Sunday, he's locked in.
He looked for Saturday.
He-
He looked phenomenal after the second inning. He looked phenomenal.
Yeah. He got locked in. He got his control down. His fastball, his slider, and his changeup were looking real good.
Hey, 3 weeks ago they played a competitive series in Arkansas. Arkansas won 2 of the 3. The run total was 23-21.
Mhm.
This is going to be a great series.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is equivalent to the World Series last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a World Series type championship series matchup. It's that good.
Well, and Larry, I'll tell you this. These are the other teams you asked about all the matchups. So you've got Miami at Louisville. Florida State is a 9 seed at number 8 Oregon State. Oregon State was really in bad shape, and they came back, and they've always been a traditional power. But I'm going to tell you this, Florida State, that's another team that, Kerry, I'm just going to say it, if not now, when? You know, I mean, because you've been in that conversation, you've never won one. They have a nice team this year, but that's a tough challenge to go across the country from Tallahassee over to Corvallis. I mean, that's going to be a big deal. This is an interesting matchup. Coastal Carolina out of Myrtle Beach traveling to Auburn, the number 4 seed.
I think that has the
Auburn.
potential to be the second best super regional out of all of them.
Yep.
Coastal Carolina's a fiery bunch. Auburn's had a great year. No one
Yeah.
saw this year from Auburn coming.
Yeah. The team that I put money on at the beginning was the North Carolina Tar Heels. They won the ACC. They have looked very good, solid, dominated this past weekend. Arizona's traveling to Chapel Hill.
I don't like
on
Arizona's
Friday.
chances.
I don't like
their
Arizona's chances either. Yeah, Arizona got very lucky to get through there. Oregon choked. The Ducks choked in that region.
And the killing part is that trip is longer for Arizona than Florida State going to Oregon State.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actual longer trip. I don't like Arizona's chances going from west to east.
About that, yeah. Yeah. And then the other matchup we've not mentioned was West Virginia, who's
At
shocked
LSU.
Kentucky and Clemson going to LSU. I like LSU in that one, but don't sleep on them West Virginia boys. I mean, they put
They
up
can score
16
runs.
runs. They put up 16 runs on Kentucky. I thought for sure Kentucky was going to somehow find a way, but I
Kentucky
just
had
think,
that game won 3 times
yeah,
and lost.
I just think the
Hey,
SEC beat the shit out of each other, guys. I really believe that. So,
hey, I gotta jump off here. I got some work stuff to go handle.
all right. See you, Shane. Thanks, man.
All right,
Take care.
no problem.
Shane,
All right, brother.
Yeah, but yeah, like, but here's the thing though, and that's one thing I was gonna wrap up with this with you guys and so forth. And listen, I appreciate you guys coming on, and I hope you all have had a great time. I've loved talking
I've had a lot of
everything that
Absolutely.
fun.
we've spoken.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
wish the chat box would be a little bit more happening. But truth be told, the reason I wanted to do tonight was I wanted to preview before these series got started, because tomorrow night is the NHL, Thursday's the NBA, and then it's going to be just, and then we get to the weekend, and I don't want to do that. I wanted to, talk about where we're at, and then meet next week to see where we're at. We can
Yep.
talk about the pay-per-view and all that good stuff. But I was going to just mention this, that it's interesting to me how this college playoffs have baseball has turned out, and it's like how the March Madness we thought would be. And I'm almost curious, is there's been some coaches that have actually made a statement.
Hey
And you
James, I'll
guys
be right
being,
back. I'll be
oh,
right
no
back.
problem, no problem, bud, no problem. Um, uh, Larry, your thoughts on this? We've had some college basketball coaches who are now missing that COVID year, and they didn't feel the talent pool was as deep with the transfers and everything of that nature. Um, Now, my question to you is, and this is kind of a two-part. You have Van Allen Lupin now going to his fourth team. He was just with the Tar Heels last year, and now he's going 15 miles down the road to Raleigh to play the Wolfpack. And now we're getting to territories where players are leaving teams to go to a rival school. And
Mm.
where do we at this point draw the line? Saban was a huge proponent against allowing a transfer to go to a same conference team. You know what I mean? And, I mean, Lupin could literally tell NC State, this is all of, Hubert's plays. This is, I mean, and you're going to give that
Yeah.
advantage. You're going to give that advantage to a great coach that they've just
Yeah.
hired from, I mean, it's unbelievable, man. So I just wanted your thoughts on that, more than anything at this point. So,
What I think in a situation like that, and this is NCAA, they need to have meetings on this. They need to really have a lot of input. But I think ultimately they need to mandate it to where if you're going to transfer to a conference rival, you have to sit out a season.
yes, I agree with that.
I would be okay with an immediate transfer to another conference team, somebody you don't play,
Yep.
fine. But if you got a player leaving Penn State and he wants to go to Ohio State, then he has to sit a year. But if
Mhm.
he's leaving Penn State and he wants to go to Pitt, give him the immediate transfer.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Because if, like you said, to your point, you can literally go and give the blueprint and tell everything that you know. You
Hmm.
can do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they, they,
Yeah.
they got to mandate it. They got to do something.
Yeah, they have to definitely mandate it. Kerry, the only thing that you missed was me and Larry were discussing the fact that Van Allen Lupin, who played for North Carolina last year, is now
Mhm.
going to NC State, a rival,
Yes.
and basically pretty much knows the entire playbook of, Hubert Davis in North Carolina. And it's like, when are we going to mandate that maybe these players sit out a year for in conference? But, if he wanted to go to, say, Western Carolina, no big deal, or somebody that wouldn't be on the schedule. You know what I mean? That type of a thing. But I am just shocked about what's going on. And you want to know something, Larry? The ACC was kind of the worst about it, because Louisville grabbed TJ McNeely from Virginia, who was their best player last year. Not that Virginia had any good year, but you
Right.
just took a great 3-point shooter and put him on a team that just finished runner up in the ACC tournament. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like You know that's crazy at this
That's
point.
Right.
why the SEC has that rule. If you transfer, you can't transfer to another. If you're in the SEC, you can't transfer to another SEC school. You have to sit out a year.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yep.
you do,
Yep.
if you do,
Yep.
that's why Nico went to LA to play UCLA because he couldn't go anywhere else in the conference. I don't think anyone else would have touched him after what happened. But it's the
Yeah.
same scenario. No other conference has that. That's why they need to get. That's why they need to follow the rule, follow the SEC,
Yep.
especially the ACC, where it notoriously happens more, just as much, if not in the SEC, it happens in the ACC quite a bit more.
Correct.
In all sports,
Yeah.
football,
Agreed.
basketball, baseball. I mean, I saw two of Miami's guys that are now at different ACC schools in baseball or whatever, and I'm like,
Mhm.
how does that happen? I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah.
SMU had a bunch of Miami guys from a couple years ago or
Yep.
whatever. Went to the
Yep.
ACC
And they
championship.
went to the ACC championship with Miami's former OC, Red
Oh my
Lashley. So
god! Oh my
that
god!
that still kills
Just
me,
joining,
man.
just joining them that year too. That was their first year in the ACC too. SMU.
Oh,
Yes, 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 yes.
we've been in this conference since 2004 and have not won an ACC championship. Made one appearance, and then you had a game-changing, once-in-a-lifetime player, number one pick for the Titans, and couldn't get back. Unbelievable.
Yep.
You can't write it. Hey, but
You
you want
can't
to know
write
something?
that. You can't write that stuff.
I will leave you with this one, so you will laugh. Carrie, you'll appreciate it. Larry will even more. Mario Cristobal did do something nice, by the way. Apparently, him and his wife or somebody, they went out to lunch, and anyway, the bill ended up being $41.38. He left a $900 tip for the waitress, and the waitress about fainted,
Oh
and so the
wow.
bill was $941.38. I say this because of this. You also now owe Mario at least 2.5 million to every Miami fan that spent, like we can all divvy it up, even if I just get $900, we can make that work and you'll still be okay,
Yeah,
Mario.
you can make that
Honestly.
work. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, he's making 10 million a damn year, so you at
Yep.
least need to give 2.5 back, divided amongst the fan base. Even if I get a nice meal at Cheesecake Factory, I'll take it or whatever
Yep.
like that. But my
Same
goodness,
here, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
but yeah.
Dude, I'll take Whataburger right now from him, man.
Oh, we're
Hey,
getting one.
we're
We're
getting
getting
one.
one here in Knoxville finally on the strip down by
Really?
UT. Yeah, Whataburger. Yep, they signed the deal. So yeah,
Wow,
so
The
I'm
first of
excited.
that's a Texas staple, man. Y'all are gonna
from
love it.
from the first I've heard, there might be the first of three we're
Yes,
getting here.
yes, yeah, yeah. But the
And the
first
first one,
one's going to
yes, is
be
on the
right
strip.
there down on the strip, and
Right by
yeah, I'm
Raising
excited.
Cane's.
Yep,
Oh, now
exactly.
Raising Cane's, that's a Louisiana staple right there.
Yeah,
Todd
and you
Graves out
see,
of
they
Baton Rouge.
moved the one that was down on the strip. Now it's by the mall, which is like
Yep.
middle of Knox
Huge.
County. Yeah, it's a huge location. That one was a small, like almost like a
Yep.
cafeteria type thing and a dining
Yeah.
hall, and now it's like got its own standalone
Hey
restaurant.
Larry, every time I drive by that place, it is packed, man.
Oh
There
yeah,
is between them and they're just outdoing Zaxby's big time. Every time
oh
I
yeah.
drive
Well,
by there, Grayson Cane's is packed.
I like
well,
Raising
the
Cane's.
thing about Raising Cane's is the batter that they use, like Zaxby's. I don't have a problem with Zaxby's,
I
but
don't either.
Zaxby's, their chicken fingers or chicken tenders, whatever you want to call it, to me are just a little too dry.
Mhm.
Raising Cane's, they have the bigger tenders, and on top of that, they're not as dry. And
Mhm.
that cane sauce. That cane
Mhm.
sauce gets everybody.
Cane
Well, and you
sauce is
see, with
legendary.
Zaxby's, I have to with Raising Cane's, I'll just have the regular. With Zaxby's, I find myself having to do a teriyaki sauce or something just to moisten them up because
Mhm.
they are so dry. That's just
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. One thing I wanted to just do real quick, end it with Money in the Bank predictions and so forth, more than anything. So I'm gonna go with LA Knight winning the men's Money in the Bank. What do you guys think?
Me
I
too.
believe LA Knight. Me too.
Me
Okay.
too. Me too.
Okay.
Roman calls Seth. I'm sticking with that prediction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that easily.
Yeah, and I think that they'll definitely, if it's not done, then it'll definitely further the fracture of Fatu leaving the new bloodline or what have you, and creating something between him and Solo for sure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, type of a thing. So now the women's match. You know, what do you guys think of that one? I think that she retains. It just does not make sense for Becky Lynch to, win this title. I mean, she already has
No,
established
Lyra
herself as a
wins it.
name.
I think
I mean,
Lyra wins this match
yeah, almost
because
like
I
she
think
cuts her
because
over.
I think Bailey possibly shows up. Remember,
Yeah.
all of this happened when Bailey sort of quote unquote got injured at
Yeah.
Right.
WrestleMania. We haven't heard her side of the story yet, and wouldn't be funny if it came out this weekend.
That Becky was the one that did it or whatever like
I
that.
Well,
So
Becky admitted it.
yeah, yeah,
if you wouldn't have a potential Bailey interference, then I would lean Becky.
Yep.
But because you're gonna Bailey has to come back,
Mm-hmm.
and she's gonna come back to cost Becky, and that'll set up their feud.
Yep.
I believe that. I believe that. I like you. Um, Carrie, I think you may have picked. Did you pick Stephanie Vacour to win that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stephanie on that one as well. I think that, but I was going to kind of go with maybe Alexa Bliss out of nowhere, but she's done that before, so
She
I'm
would
going to
be
go
my
with
second
Stephanie
choice.
Vacour.
She would be
Yeah,
my second choice. Alexa would be
yeah. What
because
do you
a
think, Larry?
matchup.
You think they maybe roll the die with Naomi? Maybe throw her a bone or what?
Oh no, I'm going with Roxanne. I think
Yeah,
Roxanne
you
is
like the yeah,
they're
you like
trying to
Roxanne.
they're
Okay,
trying to
yeah,
push
so I could
Roxanne
see
with this
that.
Judgment
So
Day.
okay,
So yeah, yeah.
gotcha. All
And
right.
that would kind of put a leg up on her in Judgment Day if she were to have the briefcase.
Yes.
That would
That
be.
would put a serious leg up
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that.
because
That
I
would be
think
my
Finn
second
is
choice.
trying to.
Yeah, she would be my second choice. That's who I
I
would
could
if I
see
have if
that.
I could pick two. Yeah. And then I guess if I pick a second one for the men's, um God. Uh that's tough. I mean, because like you said, Larry, Seth could be that that obvious choice, but he doesn't need the money in the bank. He
He
doesn't. I
doesn't. He
mean,
doesn't.
Who
And
else
this
is
is
in the match between? I know CM Punk is in it. Who else is in between him besides him, Seth, and LA Knight?
no, I think CM Punk lost.
so CM Punk lost. It's
Well, he lost.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not in it.
Yeah, he got caught.
The Chad Gable's masked American character is
Yeah,
in it.
the El Grande Americano.
That
So
was
yeah,
him. Yeah, yeah.
We
They got
talked
a couple of crazy entries. That's why, like I said, it goes back to getting rid of your bigger names. Like you literally got big names you released, but we still got Otis and Tozawa. Like, what are you
yeah.
doing? You know,
Well,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
even know who else is in it.
a
I'm gonna say this
kicker in the men's match. If Roman
Penta and
doesn't
Andrade.
come, don't be surprised if CM Punk screws Seth.
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
can see it. The only thing is, I think CM Punk and Seth is starting to kind of get stale because I know
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. You
yeah,
know, um, there's a reason why the other night he lost and he was hitting that Cena. I think you're going to get a CM Punk Cena match. It's
I
going to happen. I think they're going to
at
get away from
SummerSlam.
CM Punk. Yeah. Well, maybe not at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe it is at SummerSlam
God, I'd
because
love to see it at
Survivor
SummerSlam.
Series, if Cena holds the title through Survivor Series, then Cody is going to get the title back eventually there. Cody's getting the title back one way or the other. We know this.
agreed.
Yeah,
But
agreed. Yeah,
you really look at the matches they're booking Cena in right now. You had that backlash match against Randy, which was a great idea.
hmm
You followed it up with R-Truth at SummerSlam, and now this tag match. So you got to work your way into a big match for SummerSlam. Because remember, SummerSlam is 2 nights.
Yep.
Yep.
So they're not going to have these kind of mediocre matches
Yeah, they're gonna have a big
for a
card.
2-night event.
They're gonna
Got to
treat
hit.
it. They're
Yeah.
gonna WrestleMania. So basically, if I can throw this out there, what you could technically do is let Cena and CM Punk, fight for the title there. Obviously, Cena wins. What good booking again? We're thinking ahead. Cena drops to Cody at Survivor Series. Final boss comes up, setting up something for WrestleMania, maybe if
Yeah.
allows. I mean, there has to be something with that, with The
I,
Rock and Cody, because Cody even mentioned it
yeah.
the other night of the final boss and he wanting his soul. So yeah,
And
I don't know.
remember, they keep saying The Rock has a busy schedule through 2027. Well, if that's the case, why would CM Punk name drop him and throw the hit at him talking about the bald-headed guy or whatever?
And why would Cody drop
Cody
his name?
Cody name dropped him too.
Yeah,
Again.
he name dropped him too. So that tells me something's in the works. He's because he's kind of been forgotten about since the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber, yeah.
So yeah, they got to bring him back in some form or fashion. I mean, I can't see his schedule being that busy. You're the head of the board at TKO or whatever, that you can't make an appearance.
Yeah.
You got to show up.
You have to. You have to. Honestly, the only all right, I'm going to give you a wild card right here. They throw Solo a bone and give him the briefcase just because there's nothing else left. If that doesn't work as a push, he's done at this point.
Now, what you can do with that, if I'm in booking, if Solo is going to win, let him win, and now you challenge your brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
That might be sexy.
That's a storyline that I can see.
Yes, that's sexy. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
I
for
can
sure.
see
No,
that.
I like that. I like that. But if I had to pick two, because there's no way Penta's there for spots, Andrade's there to be the fall guy, El Grande Americano's there for the laugh factor.
Yeah.
So
like
that's
what's
all
the
that
deal
is.
with these people? Like what you got a bunch of mid-carders, a bunch of jobbers in this big. Those guys are jobbers.
They are.
They are
mean,
jobbers.
They are. I mean, guys, let's think about the first Money in the Bank match that wasn't even the pay-per-view, when Jericho and Edge and all of them fought like tooth and nail. That stole the show at WrestleMania. You know, nobody talked about Cena and Batista winning that night. It was the Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels match and the Money in the Bank that stole the show at WrestleMania 21 in Hollywood. That was it. So, yep. Yep. So, but yeah, I'm looking at this though. Like, I mean, the women's. I mean, look at the star power in that. Alexa, Rhea, Roxanne, Julia, who they're really pushing. They were pushing her on SmackDown with that. You know, Naomi, Stephanie McCourt. I mean, I'm telling you, that is there's something fucking. I'm sorry,
that's a better rotation. I mean,
and I wouldn't be disappointed with a winner in any of those.
Any of those are deserving, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but they're throwing you a curveball by some of these people. Obviously, as we said with the men, they're throwing you a curveball because everybody's assuming it's going to be Seth. Something's going to happen, and they're going to throw you a curveball because I think the heavy consensus is probably Rhea. Because remember, Rhea's been kind of looking at Io Sky, been eyeballing the title. Something's going to happen.
Yep, there's a curveball somewhere.
Yeah, it's not gonna. It's gonna be just a shocking. Because look at last year with Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
You know, Money in the Bank historically for the last couple of years, and more so under Triple H's regime, has had that surprise winner that elevates to the main title scene. It's either that or Royal Rumble.
Guess what? You just mentioned two names. Why aren't they defending their title? Tiffany Stratton or Io Sky? Why are they not defending their title?
That's a good question.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap that you have you know, this pay-per-view, do they want it only to be 2 hours long? I mean, these Money in the Bank matches are 30 minutes each. I mean, you're going to give 30 minutes to Valkyrie and Becky, and then what? The main event, the tag team. I mean, there's only 4 matches on this card, from what I'm saying.
It goes back to what you said about TKO and with the UFC and stuff like that. Like, they're not going to put their all into a pay-per-view, a PLE rather, on the same night as this big UFC match.
It's unbelievable.
So, pardon my French, but I mean, they half-assed with the card. It's a half-assed card.
They half-assed with a card with a show that had more potential than what you could have done, and you're leaving a lot of talent on the sidelines there. Can I give you here's something? If they really cared about it, here you had a fantastic segment with all the tag teams on SmackDown, only for the Wyatt Six to come out and clean house. You could do a tornado tag match. You could do a tornado tag match.
Since you want to speak tag teams, let's talk about this real quick. Why are the tag team championships not being defended at PLEs anymore? They're being defended on Raw and SmackDown.
On either one. Yeah. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Triple H is dropping the ball big time, and I don't know if they're looking more at what they're making at the gate. Because pay attention every time Triple H comes on at the post match pressers.
Yep.
The first thing he's always talking about is attendance.
Yep.
He's always talking about the merch and all of that. He's always talking the business side of things.
Always.
That tells me, right. He'll only address the action when the reporters ask him about that. Like he may come out and say, such and such had a great match, just a great event. But guys, and he goes down this thing, tickets, the gate, we broke numbers at the gate. I'm thinking to myself, dude, okay, you still got people that are paying because you're going to their cities. They want to be there in person. But for everybody else that's sitting at home, these events suck.
Exactly.
Horrible.
They're terrible.
Unwatchable, as I've liked to say
at times. Yeah.
And we know when it's good. We know when it's good, and we know when talent is not being utilized to the fullest extent.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, AEW for me is starting to surpass WWE.
Mm-hmm. It needs to.
I kind of fell off of AEW a while back, but I'm starting to kind of get back into it right now. I don't know if you guys have been watching the angle with Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland.
Yep.
And Hangman Page.
They need to have a triple threat because that would tear the house down. That would tear the house down.
They need to have it, but they're teasing how they're going to work together against the Death Riders with Dean Ambrose and Moxley. Yeah, it's still Dean.
It's still Dean Ambrose. So
yeah. So you got that. You got the Hurt Syndicate with MJF, and you got all of this stuff going on. Like
you got Tony Storm. Mercedes Moné. That match in Texas is going to be off the chain.
Yeah,
that's
going to be off the chain.
I think if AEW can I think what's hurting AEW more than anything right now is the fact that they are where the WWE was. Because here's the thing: if you've got a Peacock subscription, you're watching these pay-per-views, and you know what? I think could you imagine paying $60 for this shit or $65?
Right.
I mean, like we used to back in the day. I mean, and then Mania was even like 85 back in the day. So what I'm getting at is this is a miracle that this is still on Peacock at this point, and because this is about the quality that you're getting. But with AEW, they don't have that luxury of a streaming service or anything like that. Because I think if people got that opportunity, they would really be invested.
That's why they need to expand the Max.
They do.
If they could get on Max, they would blow Peacock out of the water.
And you see, here's the thing: Max, I hear, is trying to go back to the HBO Max because ever since they dropped that, it hasn't been as cool. And they should have never dropped it.
They should have never dropped it.
HBO has been its own thing: the sports, the movies.
Exactly.
They were the premier one back in the day. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, you want to make a splash, sign them to compete with. Especially since those streaming services all compete for shit, and so,
absolutely.
So Paramount, if Paramount even wanted to get in the game there and so forth like that.
Yeah, I love Paramount. I love Paramount.
Honestly, I think Paramount, in my opinion, they have the better shows because CBS for a while now has had the better TV shows, but even more so, CBS really thought outside the box with their stuff and with their partnership with MTV, and they have all those old things, and it appeals to a generation, But what I'm getting at more than anything is if AEW can sign like these guys that have just been cut, like R-Truth and Miz, and bring them on, I think it's the perfect time. Bischoff should try to jump in on this at this point. He's always been a little opportunistic little shit. Jump in on it and make WCW 2.0 with it, because here's the thing. Don't give him the endless amounts of cash, but give him what he needs because he can put a storyline together. And so,
yes, he can.
So, and I think he'd love to stick it to Triple H. I think he would. So
I don't think he wants to get back into the wrestling business.
I don't think so.
You watch his podcast, like you can kind of tell, like he's done with it. Kind of like Jim Cornette. Like these guys have a lot to say, criticism wise. But I don't think they want the headaches that go with running an organization.
They're not young men anymore. They're not.
Their age is taking over.
Cornette, man.
sponsorships. You got to deal with the TV deals. You got to deal with the attitudes. It's a whole, just like in regular sports, you got a whole new generation of athlete that's different from previous generations. You got a whole new generation of performer that's different from previous generations. So I don't think they want to deal with that no more. I think they're more content doing podcasts because they're doing just as well, doing what they love to do.
Kerry, you said something about Jim Cornette. Let me tell you this.
Love Cornette, man.
Jim Cornette, he was what Paul Heyman is now. I mean, Jim Cornette single-handedly, his antics being Yokozuna's handler in the early to mid-90s, I mean, that was a guy you just loved to just, watch him get his ass kicked. And he was a mouthpiece, but damn it, he knew talent and brought it in and was a hell of a writer for them.
To me, that cemented his greatness. I remember the greatness in the 80s when he was in the NWA with the Midnight
Express.
And rock and roll.
Battles with the Rock and Roll Express.
Rock and roll battles with Dusty Rhodes when he burned Ronnie Garvin and everything else. The storylines that he was involved in them were awesome. The Yokozuna thing in the 90s cemented to me his legacy. And Smoky Mountain. I went to a lot of Smoky Mountain events. I loved Smoky Mountain.
The one Jim Cornette memory I have from the 80s when I was a kid was the scaffold match where he was hanging from the scaffold
and broke his leg.
And broke his leg. Because I remember watching that with my grandpa. Yeah, I was like, ooh, like
that really happened. Yeah, exactly.
Really happened.
See, and the story was to that Bubba Rogers was supposed to catch him and missed him. And broke his leg.
Oh, that's brutal.
It was graphic, man. It was graphic for a kid. For a kid, it was graphic.
Oh, I bet.
He was one way, his leg was the other way, and it was pretty obvious.
Probably like Sid Vicious.
Like Sid Vicious when he jumped off the top rope. Like,
that guy was never the same. Rest in peace. My goodness. So, but guys, listen, what a great show, man. I loved this, and I'm glad that we were able to get together. We can do this again next week and so forth. And like I said, I might get some other guys on here too and so
That'd
forth.
Be great.
But it would be it was amazing. But thank you for coming on tonight. And final thoughts. And let's real quick, the Cody Logan Paul Cena J match. Who do you got on that one? So
I have Cody and Jay.
You have Cody and Jay?
You know what? I'm actually going to go with Logan and Cena because I'm looking at predictability with this match, which is
cool.
And all of the predictable stuff. If Jay and Cody win, it's like, where does Cena go from here? Because
that is true.
And then Logan Paul to take 2 consecutive losses.
Yeah. Unless Cena kind of like that shove that they gave each other, before or
now
whatever.
That could become something.
Like maybe Cena throws him to the wolves and just leaves him out there or whatever. Like you know what? I'm leaving with the title. Like screw
that.
him.
I could see that.
Yeah. So, see what happens. Yeah. So
Okay. And before we go, I'll give Cody Rhodes one credit.
Yeah,
shouts out to Cody for calling out Logan for going polish the Peacemaker.
Yep, I like that. That was funny. That was hilarious.
Man, you could tell Cena got mad, man. I think he really threw a little something in there or whatever. Like, oh, you bastard! Like you said that.
I don't like Cody, but I sat in my living room, and when he said that, dude, I was laughing. I hollered when he said that.
Oh, I did too. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's about time, man. That's what we've been wanting from you. We don't want to hear you crying.
Cody's been growing on
and like get in these guys' nuts, man.
Dude, you are like Dusty Rhodes' son.
Be like his daddy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows the American dream knows Dusty Rhodes was a shit talker.
Yes,
a master shit
Hell,
talker.
even Goldust, as weird as he looked, he would like say things that were hilarious. Yep. I mean,
did you see what he told MJF? Did you see what he told MJF a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't.
I mean, what MJF told him, rather. Let me tell you something. MJF, and I know he can never do it in WWE, but Dustin and Sammy Guevara comes out. They're the Ring of Honor tag champs. They want to challenge the Hurt Syndicate.
Yep.
So MJF, give me but this is crazy. MJF says, "You 2 pieces of Texas white trash," and I'm like, "Did you just say that?"
Yep.
He called them two pieces of Texas white trash.
It's got to be on YouTube. I've got to watch
It
this.
is.
Oh,
It
I got
is.
to
Go
watch
watch
this.
it.
Oh my goodness.
Go watch it.
This
Matter of
is
fact,
great.
I'm gonna send you the link right now.
Please do. No,
Yeah.
I need to laugh about that. So no, that's great. So
That's
guys,
brilliant.
final thoughts before we end it and everything like that. So
All I got, man, is always like I always say at the end of our shows, what that we do is just everybody have a safe week. Like I said, I enjoy talking sports. I enjoy just fellowship. I just enjoy
too.
getting on the horn and just
Yep.
talking about stuff like this. We all have a common a common thing that we like, and I just love partaking in it. And like I said, I love the platform. And hey, anytime I'm available, I'm coming through. I love it.
Absolutely. And share the show, guys, honestly,
Yeah.
and that way we can get those subscribers. We're at 83. We've been hovering on 83 to 84. If I can get to 100 by football season, I would be thrilled, honestly, and that's what I want this platform to really open it up and so forth, until we get to there. But we need to enjoy these next couple weeks, because when these sports are done, you don't have Olympics, you don't have any of that stuff. You've really just got summer league and just what's going on in training camp and who's holding out at this point.
Yeah.
And
You know
SEC
what I
Media
mean?
Days next month. So
Yeah, it's getting close.
It's
getting
coming.
close.
It's coming.
It is.
I want to
So
echo Larry's sentiments. It's great meeting Larry. I enjoyed
You
this
too.
tonight. And anytime you want me back, I'll be happy to do it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you
This
guys are
was a lot of
definitely
fun. I
in the
love talking sports. Love
Yeah.
talking about because sports is still to me the best reality television in the world.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Forget all the other
And
reality
it's such a
TV shows.
distraction from the horrors and crap that we have to see on a daily
Exactly.
basis
Every day.
anyway. And like you said, Larry, it's fellowship. It's bringing everybody together. That you got us here in Tennessee, you down in Louisiana, and so forth. And that's what's so special about this, because back in the day we couldn't meet in the studio.
Right.
Like that. But
Exactly.
under this platform. But no, you guys are always invited back. You've been two of our biggest supporters, and like I said, I want to bring some of my former guests back on here, so they can give their opinions on it and just have great shows and so forth. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe it, whether you've watched it live or recorded. And just remember that cause don't stop when the clock hits 0. We out.
That's exactly right.
You
We
bet.
out, baby.
Take care. Everything.
Take care, fellas.
Yep. Enjoy the
Peace.
sports.